been looking forward to this great opportunity because I've been following up on Twitter for quite some time now, and I see how passionate you talk about brand strategy and everything. So when I set out as a designer, I set out as somebody who just love to make designs and put it out there and see how to put colors, typography, and everything. Neither did I know that there's much to that, because when I was learning graphics, they talk about brand design. The first thing that comes to our mind is, oh, brand design is a logo, typography, and everything. So growing and seeing how you talk about brand strategy, I started diving into it. I started reading a little bit about brand strategy and everything. And I find out that, oh, there's so much to this branding than just the logo and everything. So I became very interested in brand strategy. And right now, every day I wake up, I find an article that talks about brand strategy and how it makes a business grow and all the nitty-gritty of everything.
Yeah.
So coming here is to learn from you because you have the hands-on experience working as a brand strategist and everything. So I believe that I'm going to get a lot from here and also put it into working with other people. And like I said, even working with you if there's a room for that and all of this, because I really want to be what we say, get my hand dirty on these things, learn from you, learn from working, getting the experience firsthand, not just reading about it and keeping the knowledge, but applying the knowledge where it matters the most. So that's why I'm excited to be here and I'm thankful for you for this opportunity. And I really, really appreciate all you're doing for the community.
Thank you very much. So is your name Fanen? Fanen
Yes,
Kai.
my
I'm
name
not
is
pronouncing.
Fanem, and then my surname is
Okay.
Tengu. So I just added everything together and made it Fanem Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in design?
Okay, I've been in design. This is getting to 2 years right now. 2 years.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Nice. All right then. Okay. So who wants to go next? Yes, Harriet. Please go on.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I just want to say that I'm very excited for this. Very, very excited. I've been very interested in branding and marketing, but particularly branding. I got into music business like the beginning of this year, and branding has been something that I really, really want to learn. I'm constantly like looking for information. I'm reading books. I'm following people like you. So I'm just hoping to gain practical knowledge that I can use because I'm working with somebody that I can use to make my work better. So this is a very big opportunity for me, and I'm honestly looking to gain practical knowledge because you're always reading, and sometimes it's difficult to be able to apply it because you don't know exactly what to do. So I'm hoping to get practical knowledge from you because you have like experience and all of that. So I'm very happy to be here.
Yep. Nice one. Thank you very much for that, Harriet. Yes. So Joshua said he's looking forward to getting more insight on brand strategy and also hear from seniors in design world. All right then, Joshua, you're in the right place. All right. So who wants to go next? Also, Kunle, welcome, welcome. So we're doing like intros and asking people what they are looking forward to most in this session. So if you'd like to go next, you are free. Oh yeah, so you can talk.
Hi. So my friend and I have a business together, and I, I'm really excited for. Thanks so much for giving us this opportunity, and I'm just here to learn like how we can market our business and how we can just take it to the like next step because we're just going in this like blind. We don't really know. This is like a first experience for us, so I'm just here to kind of like gain more experience on how we can just make our business better and how we can just like market it to other people. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, are you a business owner? Sorry,
Yes, my friend and I have a lip gloss business.
sorry, I didn't get that.
My friend and I have a lip gloss business.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
great. And how has that been going so far?
It has been going well, but like as I said, we don't really have an experience in this, so it's just like we don't really know what we're doing. So I hope this will be a very what's the word? A like enlightening class for me, so that at least we'll know what we're doing.
Can apply some of them. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly.
All right. Okay. So should we wait for more people to come in, or should we just start it? So maybe a poll. You can sort of drop it in the comment section. Some people are shy to talk. It's also fine. I'm also an introvert, just like you guys, so I'm always very shy to talk on calls like this. All right, so just give me a second, please. All right, so let me start by sharing my screen and let's just get it started. Okay. So can you guys see my screen if I start? Okay, so I'm guessing you can probably see my screen. All right, so once again, welcome everybody to this crash course. Hopefully, it's going to be very enlightening. Sorry. Okay. Hopefully, it's going to be enlightening, and I really want I want it to be a collaborative session where we all ask questions and then we all say our thoughts. I know maybe you've read articles on brand strategy before. You can always bring in your thoughts, ask questions again, and even say maybe collaborate with other people also on this call. You can ask your friends question. You can even connect with them after this call. So yes, let's go. So just a quick intro about me. I don't know if you guys know me personally, but yeah, I run a branding agency, right? It's called Pixis, right? Launched it in 2021. Sorry, started 2021 and launched in 2022. I took the very bold step to quit my full-time job to actually do what I loved, right? This is a very, very bold step. My family were like, why do you do that? You know, you shouldn't have done that. But then I'm sort of grateful that I took that very, very bold step. Hold on, I think I'm typing somewhere. Okay. Yeah, so I was grateful I took that very bold step in quitting my job to start Pixis. And I actually document my journey on LinkedIn. I realized that a lot of founders out there are not exactly documenting their journey. They just show their wins, they don't show their losses, they don't show the nights they are crying themselves to sleep because of the hard life, And then I also share valuable strategy stuff on Twitter, like Fanen said. All right. I'm also a big fan of doing things now and learning them later. All right. And let me just brag a little, right? I had led a successful rebrand of Africa's largest lottery company in 9 French countries, and I don't even speak French, right? And I actually have a case study on this, which I'll probably be giving to a few of you to learn a bit more about how I handle all of these projects while being in Nigeria. Okay, so things to note, like I said, you can ask me anything. It could be even business related, it could be brand related, it could be design related. And I would like you guys to participate, right? Please grab a note and a pen because you probably be hearing a lot of things that I've not heard before, or you probably be getting more insights into what you already know, right? And just to break some myth, right? I think on the questionnaire I sent out, people were like, oh, strategy is hard. I don't know how to do it. There's too much information out there. I don't know what to do. Someone was even asking me if they need to master data analysis. And I'm like, what? So you don't have to master all of this, right? And it's not hard if you have a process to it, right? So next one, to actually be a badass strategist, you must be a curious person. You must stay curious. So if you notice, right, when Fanen and the other lady was asking me questions, I actually asked them questions back. So you must be curious to know things about people, things about general things happening around you. You must always ask probing questions. and you should always, in a way, read people's questions or thoughts back to them. So what this does really is, if you ask me a question and I read that question back to you, what happens is it opens a new channel for you to maybe give context to your question, and then there's a better understanding. Sometimes can even give you clarity on what you're asking. And also please read books, right? Read lots of them, not to finish them, but to understand them. I mean, I was on Twitter one day and I was seeing a lady talk about how she read a 200-page book from like 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. I'm like, why? So I don't read books to finish them. I read books to understand them, and it can take me 2 months to finish just one book. Right? It's not bad. I'm not running a race with anybody. So I read books to really understand them. And brand strategy is a lifelong learning experience. You don't learn it from a crash course. You learn it and you keep practicing it. Right? You learn, talk to more people, read books, keep learning and adding to what you know. That's how to be a better strategist. All right. So before I actually go into telling you what strategy is all about, you need to understand what a brand is. Because why would you want to go into strategy without knowing what a brand really, really is? I feel like a lot of people, maybe in our climb, don't even understand what a brand is, right? So according to Jeff Bezos, right, a brand is just a gut feeling. Basically, what people say about you when your name comes up in their mind or in their head or on a TV. What do they think about you? And usually, these thoughts are a result of your marketing efforts, the experiences you've given them in the past. Your product offering, does it really serve them? Is it a need or is it a want? Your visual identity, like you're very like you're all conversant with, like your logo, sound, identity, all of that, and all your other various touch points. So now the issue is we don't want this, and these opinions could either be negative or positive, and we don't want it to be the negative side. I want it to be positive, So basically, in a nutshell, to be a brand means that you've made a promise and people have gotten the assurance from you to fulfill that promise. So what's your promise to people? How do you want to serve them? How do you want to make them feel special, right? And then you fulfill that promise, and so that way you're already sort of making them have an opinion about it. Just like how I made a promise to do this strategy course and I really got busy, but now I'm doing it. So now you're probably thinking, okay, yeah, this is legit, right? All right. So that's how it is really. Okay. So I always say this thing, right, where to be a strong brand, to have a very strong brand, you must have a very strong cause, right? And you can't exactly have a strong cause if you don't start with why, right? Starting with why basically means, why am I doing this? Like the lady says, she runs a lip gloss company, right? Why are you running a lip gloss company? Do you get? So if you start with why, it starts to bring that conversation of, this is why I'm doing this. This is why. This is the impact of what I am doing. So strong cause would lead to tension in the minds of users, and tension brings about a strong desire to quench that tension, and then in the end drives action. So the end goal of most brands is to drive action from their users. It doesn't make sense to have a brand where you're not making money. It doesn't make sense to have a brand where people are not even rallying around you, are not talking about you. That's not a brand really. It's just maybe just a business, to be honest. So a practical example of a strong cause would be, let's say for example, if I run a cleaning business, or let's say I have a cleaning product, right? I'll probably target parents and tell them that, see you, there are 10 million germs in your home, right? And the baby will probably pick things on the floor, put them in their mouth, which is totally unhealthy. And when children fall sick, the parents start to jitter, start to feel like, oh, what's going on? And children cannot really tell you where it's paining them or what's wrong with them. They just start to run temperature and they're sick. And you know how baby medical care can be quite expensive and tiring, to be honest, right? So I've sort of put tension in the hearts of parents now. So then I bring up a strong desire that, see, for only 100 naira, take this cleaning products, right? That helps you clean your home, leaves it sparkling, kills 99% of germs in your home. And now I've quenched that tension by showing them that this is just 100 naira, as compared to when your child falls sick and you spend like 10 million naira on hospital bills, right? So now that I've shown them the solution for only 100 naira, now they will not be driven to buy from me. So like I said, strong cause, strong tension, strong desire, and action, right? So starting with why basically gets us to be strategic about our decisions. Why are we doing this, and what is the impact for us and the users, right? So let's get right into business, right? I see a lot of people sort of confuse business strategy with brand strategy. the idea of brand strategy is to create that loyal customer base. People like maybe have cult like following, and I mean, I've seen examples where people are defending a brand even when they're having bad PR. Like, no, it can't be. Like there's this brand, is it Okurin that have that number, and then people are still defending them that, oh, no, I love you guys, I love that's how what it means to really have a loyal customer base. That even though there's bad PR about the brand, people are still going to support the brand. While on the other end, there's business strategy, which talks about just revenue, defining our playing area, defining our market, expanding the teams. That's what that is all about, right? Okay, so next one. So this is a very, very key point, right? There are 1,000 brands springing up every single hour. Meanwhile, the regular person now, they only has one brain to retain these brands, right? So basically, every brand out there is struggling for the same attention. We want to be sticky. We want people to remember us and be like, oh, I know this brand. I love this brand. Or I heard of them before. And the regular person out there has struggles, worries. They have their life plan, their family to think about. They have their health. They love music. They want to get money. Think about food, life partner, japa, village people, exes. So many things are going on in their head. So now, to become sticky as a brand, we must go beyond the regular. So a practical example is, how maybe if you take a walk outside to go and buy something, maybe in the close shopping mall close to you, right? You go outside, nothing out of the ordinary happened. You come back inside, and then you forget what happened really. But then if you are going outside and maybe you see Chasma just blew, that's out of the blue, right? So you remember it for days to come. So that's what really happens with brands. So brands must seek to be extraordinary, sometimes take risks, and be out of just the norm. Because if you're following the same playbook, you'll be in the same sea of sameness with other businesses. That's not a brand really. It's just running a business or charity, to be honest. Right. So strategy now, in a very key term, in a very simple term, is just a set of choices that people make for a business, right? So staying competitive, like I said, and top of mind requires executives, management teams making decisions all the time. It can be quite tiring. Imagine you're a leader of a Fortune 500 company. You have so much. There's so much at risk. There's so much impact. If you feel you're failing on the global scale, right? So you're tasked with making decisions all the time. What if I do this and it does not work? There is the fear of the unknown. How do we outcompete? How do we stay relevant? How do we improve our sales? How do we reduce customer attrition or even employee churn? So many questions are in your head. Right? This is where we come in as a strategist to help them make better informed decisions, so that they don't make decisions out of like their own personal feelings and all of that, which can probably collapse the company. And also with strategy, right? There are multiple paths to success. There are different ways to prepare jollof rice, right? Which one do I actually focus on, right? So now I focus on this recipe and I go with this, and also I can't always allocate resources to every recipe or every way to do things, right? So that's sort of focus. So this strategy comes to play to make businesses and brands focus on one particular side of the spectrum and work on that, right? So strategy alone sort of makes our daily task make sense, right? It gives that sense of purpose or direction. So you are working on your design, your marketing guy is working on marketing plan, your accounting is doing budgeting for you guys to do your campaigns, right? It all makes sense when you're looking at it from the big picture, right? But doesn't make sense on the daily ends of it, So, right. So people usually confuse strategy with planning and tactics. So, like I said, strategy is that big idea. What's that big idea we want to push? Where do you want to play? While planning and tactics sort of breaks it down into actionable bits that, okay, this is how we want to achieve this big idea. So there's like a marketing plan. That's part of planning. So the marketing plan for the month. And tactics now tells you, okay, you post 3 times a day on all social media platforms, except TikTok. That's a tactic. These are the small actionable steps that you and I can take to achieve the bigger goal. Just like a funnel, right? You keep stepping, you keep going up the ladder. You do small things today to achieve bigger goals, right? So that's the difference between strategy, planning, and tactics. So before I go next to the next slide, does anybody have any questions? Are you confused? Do you want to go over something again? Just let me know. Anybody confused? So if you are confused, you can always drop a message on there's a Q&A session or section on this Google Meet. All right, so without any other questions, let's go forward. All right, so the way I see brands should be a mirror to their customers, right? Because people are always seeking connections, and you don't see connection with people that don't gel with you. You see connection with people that actually feel like they know you or they understand you or their values align with yours, right? You see communities with people that they also align with your values, and then people are also seeking an escape from reality. That is why people binge watch Netflix for like 8 hours because they don't escape from reality. So right now, for brands to make connection with people, they must act like a mirror. And now doing this is based on 5 pillars, right? And this is like accordingly. So starting from character. So it's what we call brand character. So basically ask yourself this question that if my brand was a popular figure or celebrity, who would it be? Basically who do you want to be associated with, right? And this is what drives choice. That is why maybe somebody will say, oh, I prefer Jason Statham over Sylvester Stallone because they feel connected to Sylvester Stallone being better than Jason Statham in that kind of sense, right? So this is like the first stage of okay, understanding what kind of personality you want to give out or want to be, and then we choose an arena. So that means where do you want to play as a business? So for example, if I run an agency, I probably have to say, oh, okay, I want to be a branding agency and not a marketing agency. So that branding agency is basically my arena, or I can say I want to be a prop tech. I want to run a prop tech and not maybe a property management company. I don't know the difference, Shab, I'm just saying, right? So basically, choosing where you want to play is just an arena. And now this brings familiarity. It's almost like, oh, let's call branding agencies out there. Okay, people will remember Fort Canvas, people will remember that design, people will know Check DC, people will know Pixies in that kind of sense. But if I was all over the place, I'm doing marketing, I'm doing design, I'm doing digital art, I'm like, okay, where does this guy stand? They won't see me as a domain expert. So they will probably not even remember me, right? So that's where choosing arena is very, very key for brands, right? And then positioning. I realize that a lot of people are making mistake of what positioning is. They sometimes mistake with arena, right? Positioning basically is just benchmarking your brand and your competitors, right? So where you stand in relation to your competitors, and what do you offer? Is your offering, you have the best exchange rate, or you have the maybe there's no free registration fees for your products, So basically benchmarking, because now before you as a user buy from a company or use a company, you probably have considered that competitors are okay, I don't like Samsung, I prefer maybe Alcatel or Itel or Techno. You're comparing, oh, these are 6 gig of RAM, yeah, 2 gig of RAM, that kind of stuff. So basically people are going to benchmark you against the competitors, and this is where positioning comes into play, right? And then experience, which is very, very key. What kind of experience are you giving to your audience? What kind of stories do you want them to tell after they've come out from your shop or come out from maybe after talking to your customer service or even using your product itself, and constantly delivering on that promise you have given will make them to keep working with you or keep using buying from you over and over again, right? And then lastly, we consider identity. So this is last but not the least, right? It's not like one is better than the other, right? They are actually all very, very key. They are key pillars to building your brand, right? So identity, like we all know, are basically just distinct assets of a brand. Sound, color, logo, patterns, every other thing that you know, right? And this breeds awareness, right? You probably know a brand by its color first before you start saying, okay, this is the logo or this is this. So yes, so moving on, let's talk about strategy workshops. So before we can actually do this whole thing, right, we need to have workshops where we ask questions. We try to understand what the brand is about, understand the market, understand the trends in that market, try and get insights of what to do and how to compete or win, like people say. So basically, these workshops help us to get as much information as possible to make better informed decisions. As humans, we make decisions based on emotions, biases, preconceived notions. Oh, why are you using black? Why are you using black for this? Black is devilish, or black is nah. Those are just preconceived notions, right? And it's not sustainable for brand building, right? I've seen. Last year I was working on this brand, and then the product design guy was like, please, over a fintech, we can't be using green. That we would only in the fintech space, the seller colors are blue and what other color that I can't remember the other colors. So like blue and all of that. I'm like, okay, if everybody's using blue, then we're all in the same sea of sameness. Then this is not a brand, this is just a regular business I'm putting out there. How do we stand out? How do we make decisions that are informed decisions, not just based on how you feel or how you think is the standard? Do you understand? Right. So we have to get objective, right? Let your ego out of the door. Try. I mean, understand what your customer, your clients are saying about their brand. I mean, there can be this ego that you might want to have and be like, I'm an expert in this domain. I know how to do this thing. But if you just calm down and listen to what our clients are saying about their brand, because look, they even know more about their brands about more than us. So it's time to get objective for making decisions, and you also have to look at the big picture. Where are they going to be in the next few years? How does this affect the customers? How does this affect the teams in-house? How does this affect their daily tasks, right? So next one, so I'm just going to give you like a behind the scenes to how a workshop happens, right? So to have a very, very effective workshop, right, we need to rally around the key stakeholders in the company. For smaller teams, you can sort of get everybody on the call. Maybe smaller teams up to like maybe 20, get everybody on the call, let them talk about the brand themselves. What is this brand? What does this brand mean to you as an employee? Maybe even have talks with their users. What does this brand mean to you? Would you pick us over our competitors, or you pick them over us, and why? Why will you do that? So I found a place that worked for me for my strategy sessions, and one is I've had like a preliminary sync session with this client to understand their brand first, and then I send over questionnaires. Right, this is not the end of it. I send them questionnaires, and then they get to like think, because like I said, this is you have to get objective as possible. Writing down really makes you think, okay, this is it, this is not it, this is it. So they have that whole maybe a two-day window to think about what to pen down in the questionnaire. And then you as a strategist have to review the responses and say, okay, why are they thinking this way? So you also document your own thoughts on what they have written. And then we now have this virtual workshop or physical workshops, and also in these workshops, tell your clients or tell your people to bring on, what are the customer service reports? What are people saying about the brand? Are there complaints? Why are there instant complaints about the brand? Or what are they even saying? What are customers saying about us? And then maybe sales reports. How are the numbers looking? What has been impeding our growth, right? Maybe, and also maybe business documentations or brand documentations, like maybe white papers. So like anything about the brand, archives, anything that can really help us make or do an audit on their brand. Of course, you need to get a pen and paper, because I feel like, writing on pad might not always be the best, right? But if you write maybe on a paper, right, you sort of become more objective about everything, right? So I've sort of divided milestones for a strategy workshop, or basically strategy engagement in general, right? One is the discovery phase, which I'll go into. One is the research phase, one is the documentation phase, right? For the discovery phase, you need to have an audit. Before you start providing solutions to brands, you need to understand what is even wrong, what is going on. You need to have like clarity workshops where you're asking questions. You're trying to build out a mission statement for the brand, asking them what's the mission statement. And I noticed that a lot of brands have generic mission statements. In fact, there was this experiment that people did where they like mixed several mission statements together and sent to top 4,500 companies, the executives, and like, oh yeah, that's our mission statement. A lot of people are just writing statements without actually following them through, right? We don't want to be that kind of strategist that does this, right? We need to, define it that everybody can really rally around it. It also has to be short and concise, and then next stage in the whole discovery phase is to visualize the brand with keywords. So for this discovery phase, I have like a template I actually use. So you won't have to stress. So I can probably share it with some of you here, right? So I'll give you like a task to do, and then I'll sort of give this template out to people I want to give, right? So the next stage is defining the brand with keywords. So as employees, as staffs, as management teams, right? Can you describe your brand with just one word? It could be maybe authoritative. Some people say innovative, but we hear it all the time, but they say they're innovative. Meanwhile, maybe they are not, and then some people say, oh, we are down to earth, we are people centric, right? So everybody sort of comes out with keywords, maybe up to 20, and then we now double down on only 4 and be like, okay, this is why we chose this 4. So we justify why we chose this 4, and say, okay, these are the 4 key values that really represents what our brands stand for. All right. And like I talked about establishing market positioning, right? We need to understand where we stand in relation to our competitors, right? Is our product serving the customers' needs? Are there pending things that we need to build that will get them back on track, or we engage them, or get them to be loyal in that kind of sense? And then understanding the brand personality. Remember, I talked about brand character. What kind of values do we want to exude as a brand? That's where brand character comes into play. And also we need to analyze the key competitors again to see what they're offering, how they have what methods have they used in the past to get clients, to retain those clients, and to even grow their business maybe into a new country and all of that. And then customer journey mapping and empathy mapping, right? We try to understand the customers based on the customer journey. That like basically 3 major stages of the customer journey, which is awareness, the consideration stage, and then the decision phase, right? How do you get them to know us? That is the awareness. And then how do you get them to consider us, to see us as a strong fit for their needs? And then how do we get them to decide, okay, they'll go with us, you know? So then empathy mapping basically is split into 4 quadrants of how a client or a user feels, when using our product. What are the objections? And like I think I tweeted this last month about, if you're selling the product, you should actually express customers' objections beforehand. Maybe, for example, maybe if you have a lip gloss brand, right? Probably have to say, okay, what would people's doubts be currently about my product? Is it that it's too expensive, or will it smear? Does it last long? Does it have a good smell? So you start thinking this way objectively of how your users will think or imagine your product to be, and you adjust them beforehand. Now you're sort of shortening that customer journey, right? Maybe from awareness, they're probably going already deciding that, okay, let's buy it and try it, and then I am done with this whole discovery phase with your clients, with your workshops, right? You then move on to the research phase where you yourself are now starting to do, send more questionnaires to maybe their customers, doing snowballing, right? Where you maybe, for example, you could go into a setting, let's say, for example, maybe your client sells maybe an FMCG product, right? They sell maybe Maggi, or they sell maybe Indomie, right? They make Indomie, right? You can go into the market and start asking people, oh, how is sales going? What are people saying about the product? You can even talk to people and be like, okay, what's an objection you have about this brand? Why do you prefer it over this other brand? Or why are you not buying it yet? Is there any objections? You need to get as much info as you can to help you make more informed decisions, right? And there are online tools these days that even make our works easier, right? Like SparkToro. So there's sparktoro.com, right, where you can do like audience research. You can even see what brands people are following, the kind of influencers they are following, the kinds of keywords that is even trending using Google Trends. And then similarweb.com also helps you to do market research to see, okay, this brand is getting this amount of website traffic. How are they getting it? Okay, they're getting it through referrals, through activations, through campaigns. So you need to know all of this information to help you make informed decisions again, like I said. And then reviewing the internal reports, like reports from sales and marketing, reports from the customer service. And then, of course, we also need to read on industry publications, right? What are people saying in our industry? There are like maybe governing bodies of maybe an industry, right? What are the regulatory bodies saying? What maybe Tech Cabal right now, you're reading about, maybe, let's say, for example, you're working with a fintech client. Okay, what are the announcements that are making about other fintech players in the industry? How do they make this announcement, and why do they go this way? Why do they go this route? And then you yourself create case studies for yourself to see, okay, this is what this brand did. And this could actually mean opening up to 20 tabs on your screen, right? Try to research so many brands and so many things, right? Like I said, it's not hard, it's just tasking, and it can be time consuming, right? So, but once you have a process to doing these things, it's not going to be hard for you. And then once you are done researching, start to connect the dots, start to find patterns. And it's very exhilarating to sort of learn new things by when you've done your research and now learning things and things start to make sense. And writing them based on vibes, writing them down now based on information you got from from your research, breaking down jargon. So what I have noticed, what I do personally for my clients is I try to be detailed as possible, right? If I write a word out or a sentence out on the strategy documents, right, I try to break it down into examples and give practical, very, very practical examples of, okay, if your team member needed your help, how would you assist them? Blah blah blah. This is what to say. This is what not to say. And then you help them detail out a roadmap to achieving, success in their brand, getting customer loyalty and driving that cult like following, and then of course what we're doing is not just for fancy, right? We also have to be able to measure the success of our strategies, right? I mean, it makes no sense for you to say, okay, let's go in this direction, but there's no way to track that direction is working, right? And the thing about KPIs and measures of success is that maybe you can't track it in a month, but it starts to sort of show itself maybe in 6 months, in 1 year, in 2 years, all of that. Right. So these are the major milestones of a brand strategy engagement, basically. So the discovery phase, research phase, and the documentation phase. So if you have any questions, please don't wait until the end of on the call. You can always ask them now so we can address it here and here before we get straight. All right. All right. So Fanel. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I want to ask a question about the competitor analysis. How best can someone carry out a competitor analysis? Is it by the like, okay, let's say for instance now, I'm not even talking about an existing brand. I'm talking about a brand that just wants to start a startup. And I'm talking of let's say a restaurant. Somebody wants to start up a restaurant and then they approach you as a brand strategy. And, okay, I want you to carry out the brand strategy for me. So now the competitor analysis, is it going to be generic, like you are going to consider all the restaurants, or you first of all look at the restaurants in that particular area, then you carry out a competitor analysis by, like, do you go to the restaurant to find out yourself, or you just try to know who and who is the customer and then you ask them questions so that you can understand how your positioning can be better, or where you can identify the loopholes and fill it up for the person? So that's what I want to know.
Okay, so for that, it can be quite tricky, but not impossible. So first of all, before you start doing computer analysis, right, you need to understand where is my client playing. If my restaurant is this restaurant, is it a fast food restaurant? Is it maybe just they serve only breakfast, or do they sell only Italian food, right? So when you're doing your computer analysis, right, you shouldn't look too far away, because obviously in strategy, you have to also avoid TMI. That's too much information. You don't want to overload with information of unnecessary things, right? You need to sort of narrow down your focus into say, okay, I will probably do analysis of clients maybe, or competitors with maybe English breakfast that sell fast foods, so you can narrow down your search. And then maybe potentially, right, some of these guys also have documentations online that talks about what they do, why they exist. You can also check through the social media to see, okay, what are people saying about the brand. Are you seeing UGC content on Twitter or UGC content on Instagram? What draws people to make this content? What are people saying about the brand? This is just one way. And like I said, there's also online tools these days that you can use, right? So if your client is playing globally, right, that means now you have to sort of go internationally to also check, okay, this is how brands outside of Nigeria are playing. If your client is more location centric, right? Think maybe within VI, right? So you probably be thinking, okay, how do the other restaurants in VI attend to their customers? I mean, sometimes you could even spend money and go there and say, okay, let me just see how the experience is really, and then you start to benchmark the experience with what you want to serve, because if you say, okay, they wasted time in serving me. That's already one loophole to sort of gather and say, okay, for restaurants in VI, they take about 5 minutes to serve their customers. We can then come in and say, okay, we'll serve our customers. Maybe we give them something to snack on, like maybe granuts or maybe bread, just to start eating something before we get their main course. So that's just one way to do computer analysis, to really understand, what are people doing and how can we do it differently. So that's a question, Fanan.
Yeah, very well, very well, very well. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions before we move on? Okay, all right then. So the next one really is some sort of talking about component of an effective brand strategy document. I know it feels like a lot is going on here, right? That's why I was having issues actually dumbing it down to make it very easy to understand. But then, this is can be quite technical, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, quite technical. But then I've tried to make it simple. So on a strategy document, there's the internal section and there's the external section, right? So internally, right, talk about the brand background. Remember when I was talking about why brands should have a very strong cause, right? You need to understand why you exist as a brand, even give context. So what for my client, what I do is I ask them the backstory or the founder story. Why did you start maybe X brand? Why did you start the X brand? And then start hearing very, very emotional stories like, oh, I will add COVID-19 2020, and then I couldn't get maybe a food delivery company to help me to send food to my house, or maybe there's so many stories that you could hear, right? And we as humans are connected to stories, right? And this actually helps, with their marketing teams in selling the brand. It's almost like there's a very strong cause. Our founder had COVID in 2019. He couldn't get a food delivery company to send him food while in his convenience, and then he kept on falling sick, and he couldn't go out in that kind of sense. So now we know who are targeting. We're targeting people who are maybe busy professionals or people who are sick and they want food delivered to them ASAP, right? So now your riders, right, your marketing team, your designers know the impact of what you are doing as a business, right? So talk about what we do. So there's a why we exist, what we do, and how we do it. So it's always nice to be explicit about what we do and how we actually do it, right? And then every brand, like I've said, should have beliefs, right, or values that sort of drive them. So maybe one man can change the world could be their belief, and it could be delusional, really, right? And so I try to kind of keep it under two, because if you start saying we have more than three or four, it starts to lose its potency, you know. And then brand voice, how do we want to communicate to people? How do you want to sound? What's our tone like? And then internal culture. Remember, like I always say, right? When you're thinking of a brand, also think about the internal end of it and the external end. So the internal end talks about the employees. How do they feel about working with this brand? You know, what's the leadership team like? What's the benefit of working with this brand? Do they feel that there's an impact of what they're doing? And then basically give them that core values. That, okay, this is our core values of how we want to act internally or externally. While talking to a customer, this is how you talk to them. While talking to your fellow employees or fellow colleagues, this is how you talk to them. This is how you talk to the management team. And then also we need everybody to understand this is our USP or our unique value proposition, right? We need to also understand this is our brand positioning. This is how we are benchmarked against our competitors. Because even as an employee, right, someone could ask you, how are you different from X brand? How are you different from this guy? You should be able to tell them that, okay, this is how we are different. And this is what we promise to do, right? And that promise is what gives the users an experience that they want to keep coming back to you over and over and over and again. And then again, personality, like I said earlier, how do you want people to describe us? How do we want to extend those values that we've said we have to people? And then on the external end of it, right, there's the market and customer understanding. You need to understand the kind of market you are playing in. What are the dynamics? Is it always changing? What are the trends? What happens in this kind of situation? What has happened before? How did other brands deal with this stumbling block? Understanding the customers also talks about, okay, understanding their objections, understanding their fears, understanding their needs, and then what really makes them tick, that kind of sense. And then we also help brands plan out their communication strategy of how they want to communicate to their audience, how we want to talk in various touch points. So maybe on ads and posters, this is how we'll talk. On email marketing, this is how we'll talk. Right. So I sort of create like a table where, okay, this is how we talk on each touch point. If I'm talking to investors, this is how I'll talk. And this is how I would not talk. Right. I'm talking to maybe customers over the phone. This is how I would talk. This is how I would not talk. And then there's this whole editorial checklist of, okay, do not use this sort of words, use these words, proofread, make it more actionable, avoid jargon, try make your content understandable by even 7-year-old. Those are like checklists too on how we want to communicate to our users. Also talking about, okay, what channels are we going to be communicating by? How frequent are we going to be communicating using these channels? Are we going to be using more videos? Are we going to push in more user stories? Are we going to push in more about ourselves as a brand or the impact we are pushing? And then a brand pitch us talk about how if you're in an elevator with your potential customers or clients, how do you pitch your service to them in very concise statements, right? And then there's a summary, maybe a summary in 4 points or 5 points, really. Sort of talks about, okay, what are all of these things? This is the implication of this, how we do it, and what's the potential impact of this on our brand, you know. So yeah, so I would sort of like to touch point on why we do this document, right? So what we're doing is not because we are free or we paid us to do it, right? We do it because now we can align internal teams, right? I mean, I was talking to a friend a few months ago, and they're talking about how the engineering team is on their own, no, design team is on their own. They don't even talk to each other. They're not aligned. They don't know what they're doing, and that's not really good for brand building, right? Now your teams have to be aligned. That this is the strategy we're going with. This is the big vision. This is the big idea, and then everybody sort of aligns around that idea. The product team, the engineering team, the accounting team, the finance team. There's a whole unified vision that, okay, what we're doing right now has impact on the society, also has impact on our finances or in our pocket or on our revenue or on the business growth, right? And then we also do this to have cohesiveness across multiple touch points. So remember when I was talking about how we talk on email newsletters, how we talk to investors, we need to have that cohesiveness, because if you don't have a plan, if you don't have a document that sort of guides how all your staff or your members or your employees or their employees will talk, right? They can just form their own and feel like, okay, they think this is right. Without rules, there's no right or wrong. So now they don't know if they're doing it right or wrong. And that could be hurting your brand or hurting that client's brand, and then now you're able to make more informed decisions faster. Like I said, people can get really, really subjective. And even with design, people can get really subjective because I'm like, please, my wife said that, she doesn't like blue on the flyers, right? That can't happen anymore now because the strategy behind it is there's a reason why we're using these colors instead of these other colors. Maybe blue fosters trust, maybe, right? I don't know. I'm just saying, right? So maybe we're using this font style or this typography because it's quite playful and aligns with how we want to be playful while authoritative in the industry. So now people can now make decisions faster without having to say, let's gather all these ideas and say, what do we do? Now they can make more narrow-minded or narrow down decisions, right? And then the management team can now focus more on scaling their business because now you've documented properly the foundations of this business, right? I mean, I've had founder friends and clients who basically are micromanaging almost everything that's going on. I'm like, the issue here is because you haven't documented these things down. People don't know what to do, so they're just doing it based on what they think. Maybe from their previous experience, they just bring their previous experience and come to your company, and then it's not how you are doing it. It's not how you want it. It's not how you want it done. And then you're in every single thing. As they're designing the idea, saying, okay, this design is not nice. It's not sustainable for you as a CEO to be in every single thing, right? So this is why we build this document so that the teams can align and say, okay, this is how we would do it, and this is how we would not do it. Right. So there's so many frameworks out there. I didn't want to talk about framework because it's certainly very technical, right? So there's so many frameworks out there, right? But if you get my templates, which I'll be sharing after this call, right? They're well laid out. Even a beginner can use them, right? This set of questions that you can ask your customers and also your clients or maybe your founders or your company, really. So basically, what do we really want to know? We don't want to know too much, because if you get like information overload, what happens is you start to get an analysis paralysis where you don't even take action at all, right? And then what's the end goal of the strategy for us? Do we want to introduce a new product? Do we want to realign our vision as a brand? Do you want to improve our customer experience, or do you want to pivot into a new product? And then what info do we currently have access to? So can we get white papers? Can we get sales reports? Can we get analytics? Do they have Google Analytics already connected to their website? Do they have a backend analytics or something like that? And then customer service reports. What are people saying about the brand? What are their complaints? All of these things can actually help us to choose, okay, this is where we should play and this is where we shouldn't play. All right, so let's take a quick break, right? So let's answer questions, and if you have anything to say, any addition to make, I would like to hear them now. So, any questions for me so far? Yes, Fanen. It seems like you don't know this meeting. Yes, please talk.
Okay, so while you were talking about we're talking about this brand strategy and getting customers to um, and getting brands to align to their objectives and goals. So something came for instance, let's say a brand that is already has a huge adoption in the market, and then they
Sorry,
approach
what?
you that okay, that already have an adoption in the
Okay.
market, yes,
Mhm.
by their customers. Let's say they are already used to their logo, they are already used to some of their typography and all of that. And then these brands want to go through what we call rebranding, and perhaps maybe they find out that okay, what they are doing does not align with what the whole brand objectives is, especially from their logo and everything. So you come in as a brand strategy, and then you start doing all your research, and you discover that their brand identity does not align with what the brand is trying to portray, or how the brand wants to be seen. And then but you already know that people are used to this particular logo, and they are used to this particular brand identity, and especially let's say brand identity, the brand identity side of it. So how do you deal with that? Like, how do you get to convince, especially the customers, because they're already used to it? How do you now make them get used to the new one? Because sometimes these things cost the brand a lot. Because people be like, I don't like their logo, I'm not going to buy their product again, or I don't like their new packaging and stuff like that. But that's the true nature, or that's what exactly aligns with the brand, the new branding. The old one was just they were just actually doing vibe and inshallah. But this one is actually what align with the brand, but customers don't buy into it. So how do you deal with situations like that?
So I think you went on and on, but I'll try and read the question back to you. So I want to understand the question really well before I answer. So if I get you correctly, are you saying that maybe your customers currently, your clients, right, they are having issues in the market, right? They maybe with sales and all of that, right? But then they want to also rebrand, right? But then you are skeptical about rebranding because of how customers will take it. Is that what you're saying?
No, like okay, they want to rebrand, but as a
Okay.
strategist, now you find out that maybe their brand identity does not align with what the brand is. Because let's say the brand is a playful brand, but now their brand identity is not actually saying that they're a playful brand. But already people are used to their brand
Okay.
identity that they already have before. But now you want to make it the true nature of what the brand is. So, but in terms, let's say, like we talk about a company like MTN, when they rebranded, there was so much problem. People were like, I don't like their brand, and that even can make some people stop using their brand. So, how do you deal with that when you're in that position?
Hmm. All right. Thank you for that question. That's a very good question, actually. So one thing we should all know about humans is humans are scared of change, right? It's almost like when there's a new stimuli in your body starts to get hot, right? Until you can fight it, And that's how humans are. When NMBC did their own rebrand, people were shouting, "Nah, this is it." MTN did their rebrand, people were shouting, like, "This is nonsense." And some who said it was good. So, like I always say, design is subjective, right? So now your first line of action is sort of convince the management team that okay, this is the way we should go, and then you can't do that by just how you feel. That's really based on research. Right? You have done your research to say okay, this is what has worked in the past, and this is how. Sorry, I missed somebody. Yeah, so these are what have worked in the past, and this is how people take it in that kind of sense. So, for example, Free did their rebrand, right? And people were like, "What is this? What's happening here?" But then people are still using Free till today. You understand? So one thing I have done in the past for a rebrand like this, I personally don't like rebranding per se. I do more like a brand refresh. So, for example, if I see that this brand's colors do not align, right, I can always retouch the logo and have maybe a flatter logo instead of a gradient logo, and then change the colors in specific areas in it, right? And say, okay, this is our new colors, and this is why we have changed these colors. That's why you see brands do announcement campaigns. So if you are rebranding, it can be very, very tricky when you're rebranding. Usually you have to sort of go all out and make notes about like, okay, this is our new identity. Because now humans are very skeptical about change, right? So you must announce it over and over that okay, we have rebranded, and this is why we have rebranded. We feel like this was not aligning our with our vision or our mission or what we want to do as a brand. So that's why you see brands doing these announcement videos and doing campaigns all over. Oh, we have rebranded, so that people can sort of get used to the new identity. And low key, to say the truth, it grows on them. It starts to grow on them, and they start to see that okay, maybe it was not a bad rebrand. Of course, we've seen brands fail because of terrible branding, right? Which is sometimes not, it's not always their fault, but maybe they didn't do good enough research into their markets, right? So I would advise that you do your research, right? Understand what really tickles the fancy of your users, right? Maybe talk to people, maybe go into the local and just see, okay, how do people react to this kind of colors, or how do people react to this kind of brands, or what are their favorite brands and what are their colors. For example, if your customers maybe love maybe a particular brand, maybe go to ShopRite, okay, these people are more ignited by the colors yellow, red, and all of that. So you probably can start using colors in that same spectrum and say, okay, this will probably ignite a spark in the minds of users. Do you understand now?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. All right,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
All right. So we're still on break, right? So I'll be asking questions round. So I'm calling people randomly, right? So I want to sort of know what each of us have learned so far from this whole session, right? So starting from Murawa Olua. Yes. Have you learned anything? You can type if you don't want to talk. If you're shy, you can always type. Okay.
Okay, so I learned about um, research from you. Now, there was this problem I had, that how do I research this brand particularly? And then when you were teaching, you were explaining that, okay, you review your competitors. And I think Fanen asked the question that if you are in a food brand, I'm not sure if you use food brand, I'm sorry, if you want to look for competitors, is it around you or is it everywhere? And that question was like what was baffling me. So I learned that you can, when you're doing competitor analysis research, and you want to find out what your customers like, what they don't like, what your competitors are doing better than you, and how to implement it in your own. Also, I learned your workshop. That's has been a big problem for me too. Workshop, getting all the stakeholders together, from the employees to your partners to the management and everybody, getting them under one vision. Because I read in a book that if you can get everybody under one vision, your brand is going to be a very good brand. And I also learned that brand promise matters very much. Brand promise is what determines, no, it's not what, it's one of the major things that determine whether your brand will sink or will float. So that's basically long and short.
Nice one. Nice one. Love it. All right. So who wants to go next? Slide dominate. So yes, Elijah, are you on the call? Elijah. Oh, I think Elijah has left. Okay, so Joshua. Oh, there are two Joshuas here. All right, so Joshua Yewole, do you want to go next? Do you want to type something? Or the other Joshua too? Anybody can talk really. So what have you learned so far? Um, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Munir, you own a lip gloss brand, right? So have you sort of gotten some clarity? Okay. Yeah, before Munir. Okay, yeah. So Joshua can go.
All right. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I've actually,
Sorry, I
learned
can't hear
about.
you. I think apart from your mic.
Okay. I said I learned a lot already. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, I can.
Okay. One highlight I just got is about brand background, and there were a lot of questions to it. Why do we exist? What we do and how we do it. as a component of effective brand strategy.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's just one particular thing that I've actually gained a lot of insights. Yeah.
Nice. And we be applying them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I'd love to
Thank
see
you
how you
very much,
apply
sir.
them. Yeah, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Munir, have you sort of gotten some form of clarity on your brand?
Yes, I have. I agree with what the first person said about like brand strategy and how you have to kind of like put in work to research how you want to how you want people to identify your brand, how you can kind of like draw attention to your brand and how you can convince people that okay, this is actually what you want to get. Like I know there's like 1,000 other lip glosses out, but then this is actually what's right for you. And just yeah, stuff like that.
Okay, great. Nice one. So yes, anybody else talk? Yes, Fanen.
Sorry, while she was saying something, I just remember. Like sometimes when you're having a discovery session with a client and you're asking how, if you walk into the room, what do you want your what do you want your brand to be recognized with? And just like you talked about brand personality. And then sometimes they don't even know what them themselves or how they want to
Mm.
be seen or all of that. So is it your responsibility as a brand strategy to start discovering or telling them this is how you should be identified, or you still push until they bring out something themselves?
Nice one. That's a good question. So what I have done in the past is to keep asking questions, right? Like I told you, right? If I ask you a question and then you tell me, ask you a question like why, you know, and then why sort of gives you clarity. Start thinking, oh yeah, I started it because of this. Ah, okay, yeah, So you start to get clarity. So the clients themselves start to understand why they started the business. Like I said, right? A strong brand must have a strong cause. I'll come to you, Muro, so just please hold on. Right. So a strong must have a strong cause. So they need to understand why are they doing their business, right? I know people saying, "Oh, um, it's for the money," right? Money is not the why. Money is the result of the why, right? So what impact are you driving with your business, right? Starting with why would give them clarity to start with, right? And then once you start to ask more probing questions and start to read back their thoughts back to them, they start to open for more conversations and start to have clarity. So that's one thing I've tried and it's sort of worked most of the times, where they start to understand, okay, this is the direction that we want to go, and this is why we started the business, right? So yeah, for then just ask questions. So ask really good questions, not just open like not any other questions. So ask why questions. So why questions are more open-ended questions that get them to talk in 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 like paragraphs and all of that, as compared to just talking concisely. So just not just yes or no questions. Ask them why, which is an open-ended question. So why and what? Yeah. Okay. So yes, Fanen, that's a question.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
All right, great. Okay, so sorry, Moise, I'll get back to you. So, Moro, I had a question.
Yeah. My question is related to finance, like a bit like just after. So the problem that I have experienced is that the person just or the people they just give me one line answers. You understand? So even though I'm asking questions like I need paragraphs so I can understand your thinking behind this and that, it's just like one word. Like, okay, why do you do what you do? Probably to make money, to teach people. Like, sorry, just one word, like one word of very short line. Like, how do I go about this and get them to buttress, like speak more on it? That's basically my question.
So, I would say one way is to probably inspire them to do so. So, when I started out brand strategy like a few years ago, I was just sending questionnaires to them, and then that was it. But then I started realizing that some people just putting only one or two lines, like you said. It was quite frustrating to be honest. And then I'll call them, and they'll be like, "I trust you to do the work. Please don't trust me. I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for your customers." So you need to sort of inspire them or spur them on to see essence of what you are doing. Like I said, right, this is still a new concept in our part of the world where people are like, what strategy now? Just design my logo for me, let me just go and sleep. So get them to understand the essence and tell them that, see, if we just do maybe a brand design for you without any strategy behind it, your brand will probably not. Yeah, it might work, right? People say, oh, nice design, but then it gets to a stage where they can't go beyond it. And I've seen brands where they're like, okay, we did the identity with this brand agency last 2 years ago, but it doesn't align with us anymore. Why? Because they never had a strong why to why they were even doing that in the first place. Just because, okay, please, I'm tired of purple. And that's the thing about management teams. They are tired of the color purple because they see it every day. Meanwhile, their users or customers don't even see these things every day. They see maybe once in a month, right? So now the C-suite team are tired of purple as their color. Let's change it to blue. So there's no strong why they want to change their brand. So before you take on the clients, you need to have a one-on-one discussion with them and say, why do you want to rebrand? What's the impact of this rebrand? What would happen? If what do you think would happen if this rebrand goes well? That's when you not catch them on guard and they start say, okay, if this brand goes well, we'll be able to launch as a sustainable brand, which will get us into maybe the sustainable brand leagues. Maybe there's a body that's hosting sustainable events, maybe in America, right? They can get to that stage, or they have more customers now, or they can start to target a new section of the market, which will potentially bring them millions of dollars, right? So now, if you start asking questions like this, that's see the essence of what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. So now they'll be wise not to give you one word replies. Now they're wise to give you more open-ended questions or more open-ended answers, and so everyone can get clarity, and then you can do your work better. So that's a question we're all over.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, so Muiz Dean, you're next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for this session. I've been learning a lot since we started. And thank you to Fannin and Muro Wolua for asking great questions. There are questions I've been thinking about, but I was like, I probably don't need to ask. And the biggest one was the place where he said, oh, what if the customer said, oh, they're just starting this business for money? I was like, how will you go forward from there? But you mentioned, you keep asking them more questions for them to open up. And so far, something unique that I've learned is the internal culture aspects. Before, it never occurred to me that people can meet employees of a brand randomly and they ask, why, how are you guys different from others? And
yeah,
it is. I've never seen it that way. That they'll ask an employee that it is important to also educate the employees on the brand values and how to position themselves in that aspect. So, thank you for teaching me that.
You're welcome. Right. So, anybody has questions? Bolutife. So, Bolutife is my guy in this space. I beg. She's a. What question again? All right. So, okay, let me let Murolo talk now. Yeah. So, yeah, please go ahead.
So, my question is concerning brands that have CEOs and they probably need their CEO to come out of the light so that people can know who they are trusting. Is it important or can we work without it? We have brands like not Twitter anymore, X. Elon Musk is a very vocal person. The CEO is there, understand? People know who they are dealing with. We have, let's say go to Nigeria, we have Full Gap now. People know Uncle Fa. And these brands, at least they know that I can trust them a bit. But is it necessary to have personal brands for founders? Or we can just go with just the brand of the company itself?
Okay, so I'll say one thing and then I'll invite somebody to talk. So my guy is in the space right now. So Funsha Felix, right, is in this space, but I'll sort of answer based on my own experience. So I would say it's not really necessary. It's not exactly compulsory, but of course it is It's very good for a personal brand, or the employees have, the CEOs have a personal brand. So an example is, or a practical example is, people are connected with people. Remember I told you about how brands need to be human as possible to create that connection with their users, and that's why brands have cult like following, because they've sort of been that person, or basically being that my guy to their customers, and so one thing I did recently was I sort of talked about the brand and who I was working with, and then I made the founder themselves make a tweet themselves, and that tweet sort of got about almost 15k impressions, right? But then when it comes to your own person, when it comes to the company page and you're posting that kind of stuff, it doesn't really gel, right? People will not really follow it. You never get that kind of impressions, So now people can sort of see a face to your brand, and then now they feel more connected to your brand. But the thing is, I've had clients who don't put their face out there, which is also very fine, right? But low-key is way better. I think to do more good for your business to have a personal brand, because people buy from who they know and who they trust. Right. So let me also let Funsho Felix come on board and buttress or answer your question better. So Funsho Felix, do you have anything to say?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
To be honest, I didn't hear the questions.
The
Like
question.
I didn't hear the complete, but I think I got a few bits. And I would say that they are just like you said. Most, like I usually advise people that if you have a business brand, please have your founder brand. Like you can, it's not even a nice to have anymore. It's now a must have. Like
Yeah.
you can help it. So while I don't know what the question, can you maybe give me like a summary, like what the question is all about?
Okay, so Moro, please go ahead. So please say your question again.
Should I go right again?
Yes, please.
Just
Okay. So my
a
question is
sentence
now:
too. Yeah.
is it necessary for business brands
Yeah.
to have founder
Okay.
brands inside? Is it necessary, and is it possible? Does it take away from the company? That was just a
Okay.
question.
Okay. So the thing is, okay, a simple answer is yes, you need to have both. Then the more complex answer is it depends on a lot of factors, right? But a simple rule of thumb is if you are creating a startup, you're trying to bring an idea to life, validate some idea or something like that, still at the very beginning, definitely you need to have the founder brand. But if in a situation where your company is as big as Microsoft or big as Facebook or Netflix, then maybe not so necessary. But of course, before you even get to that stage, obviously, there's a lot of things that must have happened. So I'll just tell you that if your company is still a startup, you still have a team of 5, or like you're operating a very small lean team. You haven't gotten as much client base as you want, and maybe especially your track record on social is like it's not that much. Then I think you need to have a founder brand. And the thing with founder brand is that it saves you a lot of money, to be honest. Like I think it saves you a lot of money. I'll as I guess this, and probably I'll ask him soon. Victor, if Victor is operating Full Gap and is not affiliated with that, like he's not like associating Full Gap with his brand, I doubt if Full Gap will have that amount of traction that he had now than if Full Gap was just a separate entity and his brand is just a separate entity. So it's just like founder brand is just is a strategy to bootstrap your startup brand, especially at the beginning, right? So because people relate to people, people want to see the face behind the brand, especially at the beginning. People want to be able to put your idea next to your face, right? And your face, whether you like it or not, it endears people. There's a way that it just attracts people to you. There's a way that it just get people to know that, you know what, I'm buying into this stuff. I can mention a whole lot of example. Even Nigeria, internationally, there's a lot of example. So Yes. Muromolua. If I pronounce that name correctly. Yes, you need to have a founder brand. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay, so let me also buttress your point.
Okay. Thank you
Yes,
very
let me also buttress your point of so the market is sort of shifting. Those days it was just okay, just put your brand out there, people will buy it because there was no competition like that. Right now everything around us is being commoditized, right? There's no now there's I have to have a stronger reason of why should I buy this brand or this other brand. I mean, now people are competing based on price these days, and for brands we don't want to be caught in that web of price. So now where this comes to play is if you start to show your face out there, talk about your journey, talk about maybe user stories, you love what you're building, maybe even talk about the downtimes in your business. We are all human beings, right? We are now people see. Sorry, let me admit people in. Okay, just hold on, give me a second. Okay, admit. Okay, so basically, people want to be connected with people, right? And we're all emotional beings, right? And there's no reason why you probably pick a brand over the other. You know, I'm making decisions based on emotions, right? And also, lastly, like I said, the market is evolving now into a creator economy. Everybody's out there creating content, and content is selling fast, and that's why you see, brands are hiring influencers to push a product. But imagine, okay, so let me kick some people out. Uh, Ella, do you want to kick some people out, please? Okay, um, so like I was saying, Sha, right? So right
Hey,
now we
hello,
are
hello, 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 hello,
okay. Let me move first
hello,
of
hello,
all.
hello, hello.
All right. So I'm not gonna I'm anybody again. All right. So like I was saying, right, we're shifting towards a creator economy. Why are people joining? See, please don't admit anybody again. Ella, please. All right. So like I was saying, right, we're shifting towards a creator economy where now imagine as a brand, you own a brand right now, you see your employees are sort of pushing the brand and you're getting customers asking, who are these guys, what do they do? It really helps you, like Function Felix said.
I think someone else wants to ask a question. I see an Andrew.
Okay, yeah, Moise. Oh, okay, was a mistake. Okay. All right. Okay. So, like I was saying, right, the world is sort of shifting towards a creator economy right now, where people are aligning now with other influencers. Everybody's not creating skits. Everybody's not creating. Come with me to come with me, or maybe then the life of a brand designer or a web developer. That's what we're shifting towards these days, right? So it's now up for leaders themselves to start inspiring their team members to create this content that really helps move the business forward. You know, I think Bolutif, let me just announce, Bolutif is sort of working on a book on this, right? So you guys should probably reach out to her to pre-order, right? So she'll probably be giving you the insight into how, to do your personal brand, even as an employee or maybe a founder, like Monir, right? So yeah, so next, I think that's all really. So does somebody have any question before we move on to the case study? So I've sort of created like a case study into how you can apply some of the strategies that brands have done, to have like that cult like following. So questions, please. Does anybody have any questions before we move on? Okay. So without any questions, let me sort of share my screen again and wrap this up. All right. So I'm sort of talking about practical and local examples of how brand strategy was ignited in Nigeria. Yeah. Questions? I don't know why she's quiet though. Okay, so I will also talk about the ensuing results. So I feel like a lot of us can sort of gain insights into this, right? And shout out to Moro Olua and some other guys who also helped out with this case study, right? So let's go. So I'm giving a case study on Victor Fatomi. I think we sort of talked about him, right? So I sort of gave him a little phrase of the not so corporate thought leader. As compared thought leadership, right? So people just think that, so talking about my brand every day is thought leadership. People just think that's what personal branding is really. But you start to look at it from that perspective of, you see how he shares more than just what he does at Full Gap. He shares him partying. You can see him dancing. You can see, he talks about how he goes to restaurants. Talks about his day, who he met, people he met, and also the way it is, right? He has also inspired people to tell their stories, right? And the idea behind that is, if people got bolder to tell their stories, they basically automatically became bolder to express themselves, which also leads to that domino effect where anytime he tweets, and he sort of tweets this engaging kind of tweet where he's asking questions, asking about your own experiences, and then what happens? People start to share their own stories, which brings up more conversations, right? And then people are seeing engagement on their own social media, which is also making them feel okay. Then I'm feeling more confident. Just like how, it's almost like as if we all have the same playbook where I share my own experiences and someone has already experienced that thing before. And I'm like, did we grow up in the same house in that kind of sense? And then like I said, I tweeted recently about how to be influential, you must really serve people first. So the way it is, Victor pushes people to share their stories. He has basically served people, or he's serving people by telling them to tell their stories, tell sort of say their journey, and he also tries to be, sorry, I'm having issues. All right, so he tries to be more human than a corporate face. Actually, he leads about 3 startups, right? And with this, you tend to see different angles to the same person. His party life, his work life, his journey, and of course, he always calls people out to be like, can be like maybe at Bolo Atife, oh, I love what she's doing, I'm rooting for her, creates that whole positive energy, and positive energy also attracts people. So that's one of the ways he has sort of grown his own personal brand. And this is one way that we can also grow our personal brands. So you can start by sharing your stories, not just stories, but sharing your journey, how it was before and how you are currently and what lessons have you learned. And you can even start by even posting currently today on, okay, I'm on Saturday, I'm currently on this call with Gideon and a few other people. We are learning about strategy, and this is my first venture into strategy. And maybe months later, I can quote and be like, okay, I launched my very first contract with the client on strategy, and the client is really happy with our this thing. So this is ways to sort of tell people about your journey and show them updates about your life. So let's talk about brands now, like business brands now. So if you remember, there was Jig before IPO, right? So Jig was this brand that was out there. They were like a household brand, to be honest, right? People knew them, and people loved them, But then 2011 hit, right? And then recession, inflation came, Nigeria now, and then how it is. This thing affects the brands themselves. So they were thinking, now we have more expenses on making this product. Let's increase our prices. That was their own instinct, just increase their prices. Now, Nigerians are people that are also looking for free things or almost free things themselves. So that's the mistake. That's the mistake that Jig had made to raise their prices instead of finding more economical solutions for them, for their users, right? So they raise their prices. People could not afford it, right? So then Hypo have been trying to come into the game for a while. Happy have been trying to come into the game for a while. Almost two have been trying to come into this whole cleaning product arena for a while, but they failed. But now there was this point of entry for Hypo. So Hypo came up with this innovative solution of putting their bleaching agent in a sachet, right? And they sold it for about, is it 20 naira or so. But now the issue is people started having doubts that but Jig is 750. How will you sell it for 20 naira? Is it as effective? But now that there was not a risk for users. It's 20 naira, right? It doesn't work. I'll just throw it away, But then 20 naira, they spend 20 naira and it's working for them, and they're like, whoa, And now what happens is, since this is a mass market, what happens now? You have more people talking about your product to more people. It's almost like I go to my friend's house. Guy, your floor is dirty. You don't get hypo. That kind of stuff. I was hypo. Oh, I use hypo for my home. It's sparkle. That kind of stuff. And then more people start to hear about hypo, and they're even doing activation, giving it out for free. And then more people start to know about hypo, and the word starts to spread. And that was sort of how Hypo beat out Jig and became a household brand, and now they've currently diversified their cleaning products. they came with cost leadership as a strategy, right? But did not change their quality. So if you as a brand are thinking about going lower for your price, make sure that you are retaining the quality that you are going with, right? And also the other issue with Jik was, I mean, why would I buy a big jar of Jik, some 15 naira? I'm only using it once a month or once in 2 months, doesn't make sense. But as compared to IPO, it's very disposable. Use it once straight away, right? And it's cheap. Do you get it? So that's how it was really, and it really helped them to build that brand. And look at this hard they wrote, they pushed there. Even your white won't believe it. So they are sort of giving them that assurance that, see, our product are original, and and this is just going for just 20 naira. Now 100 naira, but then just 20 naira. Okay, so the second brand I'm sort of going with is Sporting Lagos. Sporting Lagos is, I would say, a very, very commendable brand, to be honest, because you know how generally Nigerians are not, they're not a big fan of local Nigerian football. Whether I watch Man U play, whether I watch other popular guys play in the world, right? But then Shola Akinlade, apparently I think his dad died, and then there was this. So remember I said a strong brand has to have a strong cause. So there was a strong cause to why Shola started this stuff, right? He wanted to leave a legacy behind in that kind of sense, where legacy of people or community, that can probably outlive him, and so the idea that he had for Sporting was all road leads here, basically creating that community, because football is something that gives Nigerians joy. I mean, if you go to the viewing center, it's always very lively to be in a viewing center because people are giving side comments, funny side comments, people are fighting, people are laughing, can we bring that same vibe to a stadium now instead of just viewing centers? Can we bring that same vibe? Can we bring that same Lagos fun culture into the stadium? Can we bring that exhilarating experience for them? So what they did was, okay, set up the whole business, set up the whole brand, right? And if you notice, right, most of these other football clubs are basically owned by the government, which is small, which wasn't made for profit. So there was no money to sort of invest into fan engagement or invest into stadiums or invest into other things, right? But now, Sporting Lagos came with the whole, okay, we're a private entity, I'm going to invest into fan engagement. So what they did was they partnered with like local organizers to bring students, to bring people from university, LASU Tech, Lutz, and all of that. You're on break. It's the weekend, right? Take a break and come and watch what do you call it? Sporting Lagos. We got them transportation to come to the stadium, which is true comfort, right? So they had comfort coming to the stadium, and then what happened during halftime, instead of gives people stuff, people win prizes, there's like game event, and then you tend to see celebrities coming too. So you feel like, okay, now the people, like the celebrities, you're actually mingling with the celebrities, and like, okay, you feel like now you're a community. They brought people together, right? And you see the thing about building a brand. So they had recently moved from Tessin Balogun Stadium on the mainland to the island. And they didn't see how we drop in numbers of fans, because now people are already feeling connected with the brand. Do you understand? So for brands, the end goal of brands is to create that loyal audience, create that culture that people feel like they are part of something bigger than them, And you can see from their visual identity, right? You can see how some of these things pay homage to our local Lagos culture, right? You can see the yellow jersey sort of pays homage to the downfall. Even the blue is more like an Adire style. And Belongu Studio, right, led by Jordan, right? He had said that he was on a trip one day and he saw this typeface on the bottom, like, interesting. This will be good for the numbers on the jerseys. And right, he sort of activated this and been a success throughout so far, right? So next brand, right, is Chowdeck, right? So Chowdeck, I think, is inarguably one of the most compelling brands out there out of Nigeria currently, right? So this brand came with a strong promise, right? So the backstory was the founder caught COVID in 2020, right? And then he couldn't go out, of course, isolated, right? But then he wasn't now getting like delivery companies or bringing food to his doorstep faster, or even bringing what he even wanted as maybe as a meal, right? But then he was like, okay, maybe I should try out this, and then he did like a whole test. Before you go out into the world, you have to sort of have maybe an MVP or have like a beta test, session where you sort of test out maybe with he tested with like three bikers, right? Understood, okay, what makes these guys deliver fast? How can we optimize the process? And I think they discovered that it was not really about the customer, it was more about the operation. So how can we, make sure our operations are tight or watertight or airtight, or what they call it, right? And if you sort of look at the way they have packaged identity, right, subconsciously there's a seal on their brown paper bag, which is different because Jumia Food brings their food in nylon. Other guys bring their food in nylon, but then these guys bring their own food with paper bag, which is different, out of the norm in our part of the world here. And there's like a seal on it that's probably subconsciously telling that, okay, we have kept your promise, we've delivered happiness to you. Go and eat and enjoy, open and enjoy. And then another thing also, remember I was talking about operations. They try to make the experience very seamless. So the KYC is faster. You are onboarded as soon as possible. You add in your card so that when you just order and then you get charged. I mean, powered by Paystack, so you get charged without even having to put an OTP, and then your rider comes in, take your food and run inside and go eat, And then also another strategy that they've used basically is to open a forum on Twitter, right? So almost every time they're always asking people what do they want to see on the website. I mean, they literally even let users name themselves. So they had put a poll earlier, I think last year or so, about, okay, do you want to be called, what should we name our users? We call them child stars, child deckers, and all other options. And people were picking child stars. People even picked funny names, right? And it sort of brought that whole community together. People were laughing about it. And what kind of name is this? Someone was even saying chowder, and like chowder from our childhood memories. So this is one way to sort of get people to join the conversation, because you see, if you bring stakeholders, if you bring users into making decisions, they feel like they're part of the brand. They feel like they're one of, or like, oh, child, they're my guy, or leave them alone, or that kind of stuff. So if today child sort of has PR crisis, people will still go out there and defend them and say, this is not, I don't believe this happened, this is not true. And then for retention, they went with gamification. So basically it just means you are rewarded as you use the app. If you use maybe 20, you get 20 orders, you get maybe a free order on your next, maybe a free delivery on your next order. You also have a wallet system where you can, maybe in case your order gets cancelled or something happens, right, your money is refunded to your wallet, which you can use again to pay for your next delivery or order, in that kind of sense. You can even now pay for maybe you have a loved one, you can always credit their wallet, and get them to eat, And then, of course, one of the most important things that they did really was reward their riders. And one day I was going to my friend's sister's wedding, and then I was talking to an in-driver rider. I was talking about how why is it that in-driver is getting more rides now than Bolt and this thing. He was telling me about how, yeah, there was inflation, yes, but now what the company had done was to increase the commissions that they are taking from the riders, which is like about 40% or so, 30%, right? But now InDrive, on the other hand, is staying competitive by lowering that lowest in the market currently, right? So now riders are now moving to InDrive, because I was wondering, why would any sensible rider or driver want to move to InDrive as flat fee as compared to when you can get surge? But the funny thing is that even if you are paying 20K surge on Bolt, riders are still going to get less money than when they even pay 10K flat fee on InDriver. So now what Chowdeck did, they knew these things. So they rewarded the riders, right? So one thing they did was they got these guys to Marriott Hotel, just award them. Marriott is a 5-star hotel, right? How many riders have even gone to a 3-star hotel to start with? And then they were all suited up, and then give them awards, make them feel proud. Imagine this kind of people now, they wake up in the morning, the wife is dependent on them to bring money home, the children depend on them to bring money home. You may never even know, say, maybe their family are calling, you're a useless man, you don't provide for the family. But then now you've given them confidence, you instill confidence in them to say, I love Chowdeck, they make me feel important. And this is what I'm saying about brands and emotions. We try to ride on emotions to get people to resonate with our brand or to align with our brand. So you can also see here, let me just zoom in real quick. So you can see here in review, this was what they did in December last year. You can see somebody literally has 600 plus orders, and then distance covered is about 4,000 kilometers, and it feels like traveling from Lagos to Algeria. So this is what having a brand called feels like. People are spending their whole life savings on food because they love your brand, they love the service you've been providing for them, And now you can see even these are the riders. at Marriott Hotel. You can see them, and they are called champions. They call them chartered champions. They're not just called riders. They're called champions. In their minds, they are winners. They are champions. They're not just regular people in the space, right? And then you can also see the answer or what something I said. So, like I said, right, we can't keep using the same playbook as a brand and expect to win. We have to find a way to step out of the ordinary. Like I give example of, if you go outside today and nothing out of the ordinary happens, you come back and you forget what happened. Unlike when you go outside and see your transformer blows up, that is a story to tell people about, So try to do something extraordinary. They had written out a poll, and then 1 week later, they had actually implemented most of these features that people had requested for, which is insane to say. 1 week, just 1 week was, and you need to do all of these things, right? It sort of makes people start thinking about them that, oh, they really care about their customers, and now people want to align with their brand. All right, so I think that's all for the case studies. So if you have any questions, if I sort of end or wrap it up, I would like to answer you guys. Has this sort of sparked any new ideas in your head? Has this made you see brands differently? Spoken for a while. Yeah, so please, you can raise your hands if you want to talk, or you can just unmute your mic. Fanny, you're always talking, so I want to hear you speak, please. Yes, please go ahead.
So I wrote a question down earlier. Okay, so I wanted to ask: is it okay for instance, like maybe you see a brand and you feel like this, if you approach this brand and suggest this thing to them, and then it will help them. Maybe they did not ask for your service, but you feel if you go there, that's normal. Is it okay for you to approach them and suggest that, okay, I feel if you try this, it's going to work? And then if you go and then they resist, is it okay to try again, or you just walk away?
Okay, so this is more of a sales thing. Okay, it's fine. I'll give you what I've used in the past. So what I do really, and anybody can jot down actually. This is very, very, very key. So nice question, Fanen. So what I do if I want to pitch to a client is I'll tell them, I'll probably compliment them first, saying that you love what they're doing. And before you go meet a client, please make sure that you want to work with those clients. Make sure you love what they are building, not just because you want to earn from them. Because if you do it for the money, it will show. It's nothing, you can't hide it. It will show. On the call, it will show that you're not passionate about their product. I mean, imagine, because the thing is, for these founders, their startup is like their lifelong journey. Something that will outlive them potentially. It's a baby, right? So you can't go there and be like, okay, I just want to just take your money and just go. You must actually want to drive an impact for them, right? So if you see that you can offer solution to these guys, then yes, send them a thoughtful DM. Tell them about how you're open to discussing what other people in their space are doing that they are not doing. Like if they did it, would probably be that differentiator for them and their competitors. For one, you need to really know what founders want to hear. They want to hear things like, let's win the competition, let's get more sales. So if you can start using these words in your sales pitch, you probably tend to win more pitches, right? And then if you can also show maybe domain expertise, that will also help you. So if you say, okay, I work with only packaging or do packaging for beer or brewery brands, right? Of course, if you're going to pitch another brewery client, they will see you as a domain expert. They will be like, okay, let's have a call. Let's see if there's a fit, So as you're going on that call, don't go there because you want to close the clients. Go there because you want to just hear them speak. You want to just hear them talk about, you want to just see how passionate they are about their brand. It's a two-way thing. You're also assessing them, they're assessing you. Can you work with these guys? Are they toxic? Are they going to listen to you? Are they going to trust you to do the work? You need to also assess that. Can they pay you to do the work? So that's also one way that I have done has really helped me in the past. So yeah, talk about your solution to them, and then they resist. They don't reply you. You're free to sort of send them follow-ups. If they resist and say, oh, they're not interested right now, you can ask them that, okay, can I maybe follow up with you next month with a document? maybe now you share a case study of what you've done for another brand and say, because they might have doubts. It might not be like they're sending you away. It might just be like, please, I don't know, you're not a popular face, or I don't know what you've done. Or, this is about trust, right? So how can you build trust? So you can then send them a deck and say, okay, this is my portfolio. This is the result I got for my client. This was their problem. This is what I did. It took maybe 3 weeks, and this was the result I got for them, right? So now you're instead of instilling trust little by little, and also make sure you're also posting content that also helping people to know that, okay, you do this and do that. So maybe one day it might pop again on their timeline. I'll be like, okay, this guy reached out to me like 2 months ago. Interesting, So that's also one way too. So they resist. You can always send them a deck. You just say, this is my portfolio. I'll follow up with you maybe next month again, and then you can always be sharing content with them. So basically, see them as your friend, not your enemy. It's not fight. They say no is no, though. But if you say, okay, I saw this article last month and I thought about your brand, and I feel like you might read it, say it to them. They might reply you, but it's something. What happened? Top of mind awareness is there. So that's what I can say for now, Sha, for what you should do.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. Yes, Moro Olua.
Now, my own question is also for me.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said my question is as a result of the answer you gave.
Okay.
So now the problem I have now, it's a problem of experience and structure. Now, I started learning marketing in 2020, but my learning was not structured. I was just taking from here, taking from there, you understand? Just chaos, basically. So now, okay, I picked it back this year due to certain things because I love it. And then there's this problem I experienced. Now, number one is experience in working. I have the knowledge, but I don't have the experience. Like, do you get?
Yeah.
Also, case studies. Because of my lack of experience, I don't have any case studies to pitch to the client. So what do I do to go about that? That's my question.
Okay. Nice one. Good question. Thank you for that. So what I would do if I were you, since maybe I know I can do the work, right? I will go there and do it for free. Trust me, doing free work is not bad. If you are the one that instilled or instigated it, if they come and meet you that do free work, that way you should run. But if you want to do it for free, then that's fine. What this does, so look at it from that perspective, is that you're lowering the risk for the person because one, they don't know you, two, you don't have enough experience. So even if you come and you don't even do it well, right? Less risk for them. Money is not lost. So now there's no risk for them basically. So I'm mitigating the risk, taking time so that okay, I'll use my own money, use my own time, my own effort, and do this work. So I'll give an example again. Last year when I started my business, I did free work for like a few months, right? I think Ose was part of my team, so she knows this, right? So we worked with clients for free, and now that client today is one of our highest clients, right? We grew with them, so there's no harm working for free to get the experience. Do you understand? And then what you now do is when you've once done the work for them, then the case studies, right? You can start writing case studies based on what you've done. Then this client doesn't have to know they did it for free. They don't have to know. They will think you even did it and paid for it. Or the client paid you for it. They will think so. Leave it like that. Leave it open for suggestions. So do the free work. Do it very well with all your heart. Don't say, oh, you're not even paying. Why are you stressing me? That's what I'm saying. You go there, you make a promise, you have to fulfill that promise. Do you get? So go there, do the free work, and then use that case study. And I'm also one thing I should look out for is please don't go with just any brand though. Go with brands that have prospects. Because if you do the work for them and they don't activate your strategy, you wasted your time, wasted everything. If your client today has prospects, and let's say working with them for free for the next 3 months, right? What happens? They start to get partnerships, start to run some big campaigns. You can then go and boast that, oh, don't you know this X brand? I work with them. I did the strategy for them. You can boast that, oh, you help them even expand to a new country because the company has prospects. So be careful. You also work free with, just assess the founders, assess the team. Today, are they toxic? Do they have that culture of, everybody of oneness? Because when you work with a client that will not be stressing, you will be like, oh, why did I even do this thing? And then I stuck with them for the next 2 months because you told them you're going to do it for free. So make a promise and fulfill that promise. Right. So that's a question, Mura.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Yes, Fanin.
Please, this is not a question, but I'm just asking if Olitife is going to talk because she has been so quiet.
Who?
And
Yes, yes,
uh,
I'll bring her very soon.
please let her talk because when she talks like this, there's so much wisdom in everything. Even when she coughs, there's so much wisdom in it. So I would like her to talk.
I'm sure she's blushing right now. So yes, Lucifer, please, can you turn on your mic and speak?
Not here. I don't understand what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Me, I'm just here to learn. No, I don't have anything to say. Vincent has been doing a lot.
Please.
He has done justice to it again. What do I want to say?
Please, there's so much you can say. Just say something. Just say something.
Say something.
Okay. I mean, all in all, right? I think that brand strategy is very interesting. To be honest, right? It's a good way to task your brain. Just mostly about problem solving. You're just, you know, looking out for ways to connect dots, patterns, and then make recommendations from there. And I think that's the big picture of brand strategy. You want to create something by connecting patterns, answers, this answer to this question, to this one, and you're wondering, okay, how do they all relate, and how can I create this into a winning strategy, or into a big idea that sort of sells the brand wherever it goes to, and it's like a guiding light or a guiding path to everything that they do henceforth, even as little as what their resumption time looks like, right? Your strategy can drive change in every organization, or even it's not organization gone, no matter how small they are or big they are, right? No matter how small the impact or the strategy is that you think it is, right? It drives big change. And that's one thing that led me to strategy in essence, because I'm somebody who likes to I like to read, I like to consume a lot of knowledge. And it's like, okay, so where do I dispense all of these things that I'm learning? Right? And it was one of the things that I led me to strategy. Like, okay, so this is actually a good way to dispense knowledge. And trust me, to to um to succeed in strategy, you need to be somebody who um you need to be knowledge driven, number one. So you have to be curious all the time. You cannot be complacent. You cannot be satisfied. So you want to always look for other ways to solve the problems, even with little things, right? You can just recommend to the business, and it will change the course of things for them, for good, right? So what I always tell people when I teach, forget about sometimes just leave the frameworks for the owners. Right? There are tools that can help you drive this thing, but I always see it from a place of impact more than frameworks. Like I always say, it's like brand strategy is like marriage. No matter how the frameworks you learn, each situation will be different, right? You may have learned all the marriage books, self-help marriage books, everything, right? But when you start your own marriage, it will be different. You can't get all the answers. You have to search within your own self to find the answers that you need. So you have to be somebody who consumes a lot, right? So that in those times where you need to make those decisions for those brands to win, then you get this plenty array of knowledge to pick from that you can just borrow some ideas or something from that will now help you drive positive change in the brand you're working with as well. Thank you.
Wow.
What's that one?
Very short but impactful. Thank you very much for that, Go Lucifer. All right. So I had these questions. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for me about Lucifer before I sort of round up?
Yeah, sorry. I have a question.
Okay.
but it's for both of you. So if you don't mind, can you give us your backstory,
Me.
both of you?
I will let you go first. Wait. So you're basically pulling strategy on me right now, right? Nice one. We're learning. All right. So, Bolusife, please go first.
Sorry, what was the question? How did we start? Like,
So he's asking for your
Yeah.
backstory.
backstory. Very complicated, but I try and make it as short as I can. Right. So I studied food technology in school. Right. And for those who do not already know, I am a designer as well. So I studied technology in school, but because it's a very competitive environment, right, and not very appreciated in Nigeria, I was like, okay, along the way, I got introduced to design in school, and then I was like, okay, this is very interesting. But the way I was taught design was not to look at it from graphics angle. It was more about how everything in life is designed, right? So it pricked my interest. It was very intriguing. I got to find out a lot more, and I think my curiosity level started to grow from there. And then I met Funshaw in 2019, 2020, and a lot of other people as well that are doing strategy. I'm like, okay, so there's something like this that is called strategy. I only know marketing. I never knew anything like brand strategy at that time, like 2019-ish. But I got introduced to it at that point because Funshaw was always creating content. The other people too created content that year on Instagram. And I got to learn like some of the things that they said. And um, for everything I learn, it brings up new questions. Alright, so it brought up like new questions I wanted to answer, and so from there I was already doing design for like about 8 years now, but I just wanted to add an extra layer of depth to my work, and that was what even prompted me, right, to even go, because I'm like, I have all of this, I like to, have all of these ideas and stuff, right, to um I like to have impact in whatever I do. So I'm like, all this knowledge now, where can I put all of them? Like, so that was what I'm saying. Okay, that led me to now eventually find out, okay, what's this about and all of that. I asked the people I could ask, but the more I went into strategy, the more I loved it because of the the kind of impact that I've recorded over the years, right? So for each time, I've had a lot of challenges. Trust me, you'll have challenges in strategy, a lot of challenges. But for each time, it felt like I'm doing something afresh, something new with every new brand, right? So there's nothing like it's boring or anything like that. You're going to find new problems, new this thing like that, and then over time, I got very comfortable in it. And my current role now was the seal for all of the strategy I knew. Because like Gideon, me, I don't get a lot of clients like that in strategy because I position as a designer, Juliet. But I get to work with just a few of them. But I don't want to myself out too much like that as a strategist, right? So that also like now, so my current role where I work, there was a big need and stuff, and this happened like I think last year, 2 years ago, no, last year. Uh, there was a huge need for strategy. It's like, okay, people, the company is not that big on strategy. They don't even know what it is, right? They just know and wing it and do whatever. It was me and I started putting structure. So for the first time, I got to learn how to build a brand from ground up, right? Even to the point where it is now. And I think that's like the biggest stride. For other people, like for other times, I've only like worked partly on the strategy part or maybe on the design part. For brands like that, it's not wholesome. But this was like the first time I would do like a wholesome, and it opened my eyes to so many things, right? That now I say I want to do this even like much more than I used to do it before. And that's my backstory. So I hope that I was able to inspire somebody.
So yes, nice one. I feel like you're being too humble, Sha, because actually I know I can toot your own for you, Sha, but let me not go there. Anyway, so let me talk about my own backstory, Sha. So my own backstory, to be honest, I don't know if that interesting, Sha, but okay, so I studied architecture in school for 5 years, studied outside Nigeria, and then every week we had like presentations to our teachers and lecturers and all of that. We call them jurors. So every week was like fire for fire, and then we were designing day in, day out, night in, night out, right? And then I think Aki school sort of shaped my perception of what design really is. So I didn't exactly see it as beauty, designing for beauty. Like Bulu has said, I saw it for the practicality of what it was. For architecture, right? If one step is 0.01, someone could trip and probably fall and probably die. So your work is very, very, very serious. It's not something to joke with, right? So I never saw design as a joke. I saw it as something to really, really take serious, right? So then after school, so my final year did well, and then I started entering competitions to just see how I could test my knowledge of design out there. Right, I entered Design Week Lagos. I think some of you know it. I was a finalist and I presented to like these people, right? And they sort of loved the ideas I sort of brought on, right? And then I also got another competition again, another nationwide competition in branding, right? I mean, I wasn't even good in logo design or anything that time, right? But I had just for a fashion brand, and then I was like, I started a fashion brand when I was in like tutorial level in school, but it failed, right? And from that failure, I was able to sort of pinpoint, okay, I can tell a good story with my design. And this is where you stand out as a strategist from other guys. So I won that competition because I had a story to tell. I had a very, very big and emotional story to tell people. People are emotional beings, right? Don't go there with facts and figures. Don't go there with statistics. Go there with stories. Go there with things that make them feel connected to you. So I won the competition. Even after one of my orgasms were like, you can't win it, Jerry. It's your country. How can you win it? I was like, I'm sure I can win this thing, right? And I did it for fun. I didn't do it. I did it for fun because I was enjoying myself. And then when I won, I was like, this is cool, though. Let me try and put more effort into this. So then I started watching videos. I started I saw Chris Do. I started watching his videos about logo design, Suez agency, blind, and all of that. And then there was this stuff, logo therapy. God, that episode was that whole series was mad. So like this lady, I'm forgetting her name, this popular lady that is like that wears hijab, that she's very good. I don't know her name, I can't remember her name now, but she also designed there, brought other popular guys to design too, and it sort of made me see the whole essence into logo, what really goes into logo design, the thought process behind it, mind mapping, all of that. So then I came back to Nigeria and then I got this full-time job at a sports company. And then I was like, nah, this is hard. I can't design for sports, right? I told my brother was like, this is simple now. I'm like, no, sports is one of the hardest things to design. People are moving and all of that. So then I did well actually, right? I was designing as much as, and this sounds unbelievable, I was designing as much as 30 designs a day because this company was a big company. They were going all out on all platforms. So think of go.com, they were there, livescore.com, they were there. Think about all of these guys. I was designing creatives for all our influencers. We had like 20 influencers. I was designing for all of them. Each of them had their own promo codes. I was designing for each one of them. And I also work with Extreme. Extreme is one of the biggest agencies in West Africa currently. They recently won this French award actually. So we worked with them. They did a brand identity for a brand. So I was there helping them with strategy and seeing how they are bringing our ideas to life. And yeah, so basically I was sort of tasked with activating these ideas to. Oh yeah, okay, all right, Lucifer, no worries, catch you later. All right, so I was sort of tasked with activating these ideas that this agency had brought on for us, and so far so good. And then after a few months, I felt like I had done enough impact in the business or in the company, right? I was like, let me start my own stuff because I wanted to just do things without limits. I wanted to work on big brands. How we all have big ambitions, right? Work on big brands, and then I quit my job. I just quit my job, right? And then my parents are not calling me, like, why did you quit your job? I mean, I don't know, but I had to, I'm starting something that I'm really passionate about, and then they were sort of blasting and saying, why would you do that? And that kind of stuff. But then like I said to Morolo, I took on a free gig, which was I won't have said that, don't start at that time, because I needed money. But I took on a free gig working with them. I did well, right? And now the client was able to pay me stipends to at least sustain myself, and then kept on growing the business. It wasn't easy, getting the team to work with me, understanding structure. I had to learn things from the scratch because what I had learned in design was if I'm running a business. So I had to learn from scratch, So basically, I think that's one thing that makes me different these days is because I actually run a business. I understand what founders themselves are facing when doing strategy or doing anything for their business. So that's why I'm always like, let's be objective about what we're giving to our clients when we're pushing for them. So and then after this, we got like this really big client. This was like the big breakthrough for us, really, and we sort of did well, absolutely well. Like I said, I'm a big fan of doing things before I'm even ready for them. So I did that, and that sort of instilled a whole confidence in me, right? And I think this is where I sort of end my backstory, to what I'm doing to this. And now I'm just sharing my journey and sharing the impact of what you can be as a brand strategist and how much you could even earn. You can earn a lot of money, doing brand strategy for your clients. Yes. I hope that was impactful, Sha. Thank you, Fanin. All right, so let me just round up real quick. If there's no other questions, I feel like we have to sort of bounce off now. Okay, so I've gotten this question before of how do you know that what you've done is good enough? Let me share my screen lastly. So how do you know if your strategy would work or if it is good enough? So the thing is, you're not God. You're not Allah. You're not. You're getting a call. Hold on. Yeah, you're not a time. You can't tell times, right? Markets are always changing. People's wants are always evolving. Tech is always advancing. So you can't always know if it is ready. But I mean, it's a way that okay, yeah, this we can start with this and then we build up. So one mistake that people make is do strategy and go and sleep, forgetting that businesses we go to work every day. Why? Because we have to keep building the business, building it. So same thing as a brand strategy document. You have to create a living document or a living brand, such that if one part of our strategy fails, we would not cry over it. We would sort of say, okay, how can we mitigate this effect from happening again? How can we build on this? What new information do we have working with this brand? And sometimes some insights can be gained while or learned as you begin to activate them. You see brands do rebranding and they fail, right? Now they can learn from it. And that's why you see founders are saying, I've been like, oh, I'm a 3-time founder. I've learned from my failed startups. Failure is part of our process. You have to probably fail. So don't be scared to fail, right? But now the caveat here is make sure you have done your work, done the research, done everything you need to do, ask good questions, read books, done read publications on that industry to understand how to make informed and calculated guesses. If you actually work with C-suite teams, you know that quite a number of them are making guesses. They are making decisions based on guesses, right? So it's not just based on you, to be honest, right? So you only help them make that decision rightly, right? And maybe wrong decision, that's also fine, but don't beat yourself up for it because you can learn from it and activate it. So yes, so I would sort of recommend books that you guys should read. I feel like this is the most practical book you would ever read on brand strategy or even branding, and it's called Building Better Brands. I mean, it's quite hard to even get the soft copy of it, so you have to probably buy the book, maybe from what's it called? I've forgotten this bookshop. But anyway, any bookshop around you can get it, right? Building Better Brands by Scott Lehman is very, very detailed, very, very practical. It's also very illustrative, right? I know you guys have said you read books, articles all around, but the funny thing is that these articles are really based on books that this guy or maybe these guys have written, right? And also, Simon Sinek is also someone that I really, really adore in this space, right? It talks about the infinite game, starting with why, like you see here, we're talking about how a brand should have a very strong cause. They should have a strong why to why they are doing what they are doing, because this is what will be the guiding light to them. I wake up in the morning, the sense of purpose. I love my job because I feel like I have an impact on people out there. So this is where the Infinite Game book comes into play. Or you can even start with why also. So this will actually help you. So if you want to advance in your strategic career, read this Infinite Game. If you are a beginner, I would advise you go with Building Better Brands to start with. Right. So End note before I sort of call it a day. So outstanding work, whether award winning or not, is fueled by great clients. So when I was talking to Morolua about how you are also going to be assessing your own clients while they're assessing you. So it's not a one-way thing, it's a partnership. It's almost like you want to marry somebody. You don't just say, okay, she's fine or he's fine, come and be my husband or be my wife. So you have to sort of assess that, okay, this person is a good fit for me. Because now you need to know that the ideas you're bringing on board, they respect your ideas, they respect your opinions. Because sometimes they can make you feel foolish if you don't assess them to say that they really do care about your opinions. So seek those who share your ambition and respect that relationship. Keep it, because you never know where that referral can take you. So please invest in knowledge. Like I said, don't read books to finish them. You can read this book. I've not finished this book till today, and it's not a sin. Do you get? Read what you have, what you can get from there. Gain knowledge. Even if it's just one page a day, is something better than zero, better than trying to finish. Because if you try to finish this book, it's about 200 pages. I can't finish this book right now. So pace yourself with information. Don't overload your mind with information. Pace yourself, learn it step by step, apply it as you need it. Like Bruce first said, industries are different, so you have to also keep investing in more knowledge. More knowledge. Of course, they are giving principles that sort of guide how you act with these things, but be flexible. Don't be rigid. Like what Hypo did, were not rigid. They were flexible. And that's how they were able to win the war with Jig. All right. So of course, also have to develop your communication skills. It's also very, very key to develop your communication skills when you're talking to people. So I think is it Fanon or Muro that said that it's hard to sort of get the management teams and everybody on call to align with what you're doing. So I think one really key factor for me is, before you get on the call, you might be nervous. They might be nervous because what should we expect from this call? They don't know. So try and break the ice beforehand by letting them know that this is what to expect on the call. By setting a meeting with them, tell them the agenda of the call, send them questionnaires beforehand so you don't catch them off guard. Imagine as a CEO, you're asking me what's my mission statement in front of my staff. I might be embarrassed, but I don't need offhand, I might be embarrassed, right? So beforehand, you'll have to tell them that, okay, this is what to expect. So now they'll see you as a partner, like, okay, they're not here to come for my head, they're here to help me figure out things myself, So be a partner to your clients, right? So the task for today is to share what you learned on the call on Twitter, right? You can tag me, right? Or tag Bodizife or tag any other person, right? So tag me, right? And you'll probably stand a chance to get access to a few resources I use my workshop. And these are like agency level resources. These are not like individual level resources. They're like agency level resources that we have used to help brands win in their market and also help them build like cult-like following. So yes, you can always connect with me on X or Twitter, right, at Gideon Tom. Very simple. So right, so I'm open to hearing questions, opinions, what you've learned so far, and you can sort of wrap it up. Yes, please go on.
Yeah. So in order to add to what you said about asking questions, I just wanted to say something real quick. Like there's this thing we call the I'm actually answering the question of Murua about what he said. Sometimes they give you monosyllabic answers when you ask why do you start. They say okay for money and so there's what we call the 5 whys. So you keep asking them until you exhaust the 5 whys. Why did you start? Because of money. Why do you want to make money? Because I want to take care of my family. Why do you want to take care of your family? So with that now you can get to the root reason why they started the business when you exhausted the 5 whys. So I think that will also help you when you're talking to clients. So you can always use the 5 whys to get deep, and from there you can uncover certain and things that they might have not been prepared to answer, but because you have been persistent with the why, they go ahead to bring it out, and then we get down to the roots.
Nice one. Thank you very much for that, Fanon. Love it. Any other questions or contributions? So it can even be outside of strategy. It can be about your work life. It can be about your personal life. It can be anything really. I'm open to answering any questions you may have. Yes, Moro Odua, please go ahead.
Okay, so what my question is about is going to be research. Now, I've tried doing research on my own. I found it quite taxing because sometimes there is limited information, let's say on the internet, or that companies are willing to reveal. So, is there a way I can go about it and get more information, or are there sites that I can use to get more information about, okay, what are these particular demographic looking for in this industry? Like, okay, which kind of people eat this kind of snacks? Let's say chocolate snacks and stuff like that.
Yes. So I've sent a link to the group, right? So the sparkthrough.com is also a tool that people use or you can use to do audience research. So I think let me bring somebody up. So Ose is our marketing associate at Pixis, right? I want that sort of tell you guys if there are any other research tools that she has used for market research. Ose, do you want to go? Ose.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't get you. Sorry.
Yeah, so for all who had asked, are there like tools you can use for market research? I was asking if you knew anyone. Like I said, if you know.
So I can't hear you. Are there tools where?
So tools that you can use for market research. If you know anyone who can do that.
Okay, I would say majorly you can do manual research, like Google around, and also Google Analytics can help you in terms of research. And also, if you want to search for competitors, there are tools like Uber Suggest. Yeah, Uber Suggest comes in handy. They have free and also premium services that could help come in handy, right? Then I think that's basically it. So you can check for SEO tools to check for your competitors, and yeah, so that comes in handy in terms of research.
Nice. Thank you very much. Yes, so I understand your point of view where you're like, yeah, there's obviously limited info in our space today, and that's why sort of I'm admonishing people to document your journey, document how you did this, how you did that, because we're actually helping the ecosystem to thrive in a way, right? So another way of doing research is by talking to customers. So is there a way you can send questionnaires to your clients' customers to just hear what they have to say, what's their pain point, and they can sort of end it and be like, okay, do you want to get on a call to discuss this more? You know, that one also gives that whole personal. You want to maybe they want to rant about how their service was. You know, they can talk to you and it's tell that it can tell that it's anonymous, that they won't, they won't have to write their names down. So you can get anonymous suggestions from people about the brand. Also, another way is social proof. So there are social listening. I mean, so there are tools for social listening. What are people currently saying about the brand? Is it even a brand that people want to associate themselves with or not? So that's also another way. And another way also is just by being there. If you can go to your client's office and just stay there for like a whole day, just working. Let's see even see how are the leadership teams talking to to their clients, sorry, to their clients or to their employees. How often do they have meetings? When do they come in? You can have one-on-one, drag someone to the side and be like, guy, talk to me man to man. How do you feel about working with this company? Very anonymous. I won't tell anybody about this. So start to hear what people are saying. Because if you're on the call, they can lie that, oh, I love my company, but meanwhile, they don't really love the company. This is on that way of doing research to get more information about the brand. Yes. So yes, Fanel.
Okay, so I just wanted to ask a question, especially when it comes to, because you made mention of talking to the brand customers. What if it's a startup? How do you get to talk to people that maybe a brand that is just, and again,
Right.
like I will use a food business that is just coming into the market. How do you get to talk to people that you will get the right insight for this particular brand?
Okay. So since food is a generic stuff, I mean, you eat food. Your friends eat food. Do you have friends that go out to restaurants? Do you have friends that go out to restaurants maybe on a monthly basis or a weekly basis? Do you have?
Yes, I do. I do.
That's where you start from. Start asking them, what's your experience like? Where have you been to? What's your experience like? What would you like to change? How do you think can be better? They themselves can start telling you that, I did this and I did that. Like I work with the Maggie brand earlier in the year. What I did was I took the flavor, whatever they call it, I took one sachet and like asking my friends around that, like were ladies that cook, right? What's the biggest fear when buying in an unknown brand? And they were like, oh, I don't know how conk or how strong or conk the Maggi is. So I don't know how many to add. So that's my biggest fear in my first time using it, right? So that already creates that whole content for you. Okay, I'll write the content about what's the desired measurement for using this product. This is how conk it is or potent it is in that kind of sense. To talk to your friends who go to restaurants often. What's their pain points like? What was the best experience they ever had? For example, now maybe I went to one place and they gave me granite to start with. And I'm like, granite, okay, I don't like granite. I prefer bread. I prefer something. That's one way to do your research. Ask your friends questions. Ask them open-ended questions. Even go there yourself, and even see for yourself. Because people just say what they know or what they want, what they think you want to hear. So go there yourself and express it yourself, and then see how you can improve on it. You can even drag one of the servers by the side and ask them, how do you feel working here? What's the process like working here? That kind of stuff. So these are ways to do research too. Just be open-minded. You can find information anywhere, even with cleaners. You can find information anywhere from anybody. Yep. So let me go back to Munir. So do you have questions for me, Munir? Have you gotten clarity for your business moving forward?
I don't have any questions, but this has been so helpful. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
You're welcome. Yes. So Dorcas, you came in quite late, but I really hope you sort of gained something.
Oh, yes, please. I did. I think I got confused about the time because I'm in GMT. So when I converted it, but yeah.
Apologies for that. But the good thing is there's a recording that I will send to everybody, so you can always replay it. So you're in good hands.
Thank you.
All right. So do you mind giving me a background about yourself, what you do, and what you're looking forward to most in this session?
Okay, so I'm actually a content marketing specialist, but then I was working on a particular project and I had to do brand strategy partially. So that's what sparked my interest in the field. And I'm actually taking a course on Coursera right now on brand identity and strategy. So that has been very helpful. So when I saw this crash course, I wanted to join as well to get a few things from here. So I think I have one question.
Yes, please shoot.
When it comes to maybe specializing in a specific aspect of brand strategy, I think when I joined, I heard a few people talking about, most people spoke about design, but I don't know if you want to specialize in brand in one as. Okay, I would like you to speak about maybe the different aspects of brand strategy and then ones that maybe we could specialize in, if you've already not spoken about that.
Okay. So I think I've said before, right? Strategy basically is about making choices for brands, right? And I mean, the way I see it is you can't exactly have a specialized form in strategy because things always work in tandem. So I think I shared earlier about how there's the visual side of things, there's the communication side of things, there's the whole. Oh, okay, all right. So you got a nice one. Connect, please. You guys can connect to each other. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, you don't have to be a designer to do strategy, right? I mean, I don't design full time anymore. I have somebody who helps me in my company, right? So I do more of strategy. So I do more of talking with the C-suite team, talking with the team members themselves, planning and the strategy for communications, both internally, externally. Also, something called risk. What's what they call it actually? Basically, in case of bad PR, how do you mitigate this effect? How do you address this effect? So, for example, when Payday was going through the whole PR crisis, it's shocking to see that they never addressed that thing, right? It's very shocking, right? So most brands should sort of have this, especially if you are a brand that's looking to go global, or if you're a brand that has so much at stake. For startup brands may not need it because you only have maybe like 50 customers, 500 customers, right? There's not so much to lose. But when you start having like a million customers and people are knowing you, you should sort of have to have this in place. I mean, so yes, answer your question, Lucas. So designers use this strategy to sort of help them make decisions about the design style. Should we be more illustrative, or should we be more you just use more imagery? What kind of imagery should we use? What kind of color should we use? What does this color spark in the minds of users? What kind of emotions does this give to the users, or even to the employees themselves? So that's what the designers use strategy for. But you as a strategist can also help them. There are some use cases for strategy. Could be it kind of want to pivot into a new service, or they want to expand to a new market, right? And other things really. So there's so many use cases of strategy, right? So it really depends on what your client or your company wants to do at that particular point in time. Did I answer the question? Did I just confuse you more?
No, you answered it correctly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. So Moise, wait, Muro, please wait first. Let me answer that people. You always have questions. So Moise, Joel, Joshua, any questions from your end before I move on? And then Ayokunle, you've been quiet the whole time. You want to talk? Any other person have anything to say? All right, so let me let Moralova go for it. So please can go ahead before anybody comes on.
Okay, thank you very much. The question I have is concerning audio branding.
Okay.
Why do brands not invest in audio branding? There's this thing there's this sound, this Netflix stardom sound. Once you hear that sound, you already associate that, well, this is Netflix. So I just wanted to ask that why is it that brands don't invest in audio branding like that?
So it's not like they don't invest in it. Some of them don't even know they need it, right? And to be honest, it's not bad for everybody not to have it, right? Because somebody don't just need it. So for brands like Number, I know that they want to be doing TVCs all around. Of course, they know that they need to have that identity, that sonic identity. For a brand like Indomie, that's playing on kids, playing on emotions, right? They know that they need that sonic identity, But not every brand needs a sonic identity, because may not apply to them. Some people just want to just be just market shareholders, just want to just take small market share. They don't want to lead the market. They don't want to be memorable, and it's fine for them, really. So it's not compulsory for every brand to have a sonic identity. But I think one thing that we personally have even done for our brands is, so an example is Ripple, right? We have working with a client called Ripple, right? It's a fintech, and then we don't have an identity per se, but we have one thing that we sort of end our videos with, maybe just Ripple it, that there's that sound to it, just Ripple it, and it sort of sticks to people's heads at the point, So yes, immediately for brands that want to really go out with the marketing that will need sonic identity, it's quite expensive to hire a sound engineer and hire this guy's creative director, and then you're only doing it maybe once in a year or once half a year. It's not sustainable for brands like that. So yeah, but I mean, it's a very good addition to brands, but it's not compulsory. Do you get?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. So I think that's all really. So you can always connect with me on Twitter, send me an email, I'll probably reply you on time too. Right. So like I said, right, I would like you guys to sort of share what you've learned on Twitter, and you stand a chance to win my free resource. Sort of, it's a document basically for your workshop. If you have a workshop with your client, set of questions you can ask, and then from there you can also be able to decide how to move forward with your whole strategy and planning for your clients. Right, to really help you make your process more streamlined, so you don't have to be opening so many tabs of research and what should I do here. So it's very intuitive and also very informative for you to use. Right. So without any further questions, I think we can sort of adjourn the call. Is there any questions before I end the call? This guy let us go today. Yes, please go ahead. You're welcome, Joshua.
I'm very sorry. I'll make this my last question.
No, you can
So
ask me questions. It's fine.
no, but this is the last. Thank you. My question is about brand storytelling. You know,
Okay.
there is always a why brand
Mm.
starts, and sometimes the problem is not the why.
Sorry, I didn't
Sometimes
hear you.
is
It was
the
breaking.
problem. Okay, I said sometimes the problem is not the why. The problem is how to craft the why so that you can engage and attract your audience. You know, sometimes people don't care if it's not benefiting them, if it's not helping them in any way. So is there like a way we can do that, craft our brand story so that we people are attracted to our audience?
Nice one. That's a very, very good question. So we have something we call the four. Hold on, let me open it. I'm going to open up my profile so you can see many things. So there's this whole storytelling framework. There's a four-part storytelling framework, right? One talks about the value. One is value story. So a story of what you offer and how it impacts the users, right? You may not have a strong why yet, but let's talk about your value story. So a story of what you offer and how it impacts the users. This helps you to bridge that value gap between what you offer and what your competitors, all your other guys offer. And then there's the whole founder story, a story of who and how the company began. So maybe it can be from personal struggles, finding a suitable delivery company to deliver food to me in my office. That's the founder story. And then if it kept on, it was recurring. I wasn't getting healthy food. I was eating junk food because I could not, maybe junk food was failing me in and out and all of that. So I started resorting to eating Mama Put or just taking Gala and Pepsi, but it wasn't sustainable. So I started to start my own chow deck in that kind of sense, you know. And there's this other one called the purpose story. So it's the story of alignment and also inspiring people to take action. So basically, this is for internal. So internally, right? So if I was hiring somebody today, what I'll tell them is this is what Pixis does, right? Pixis helps businesses become global brands. And I sort of explain it more again and say, I strongly believe that every single brand out there, whether you're in Shomolu or you're in Yanapaja, or whether you're in Kogi, you have the opportunity to reach a global audience. Now there's the advent of internet. Before those days, founders had to travel with plane to go and meet partners and close deals. Now you can close deal over a call. Now there's now more opportunity for you to grow your business. So why are you thinking small? Why are you thinking small? You're innovative, right? But why are you not thinking bigger? Why are you not thinking globally? Right. So this is what we do, and this is the purpose. And I sort of tell this to people that are joining Pixis, and they sort of see that purpose. There's that whole grand vision, and they're like, okay, interesting. So that's one way. So that like four ways, right? So I'm on the third one. So the fourth one now is the customer story. So now the customer story sort of talks about the story of the customers before finding your offer and after they found your offer. So before Pixis, right, these guys were working with other agencies, freelancers, or any other person that they were paying, right, but they're not delivering results for them. And they sort of felt like they couldn't trust anybody anymore. They've already given up, you know. But now coming to Pixis, seeing our offer, seeing how it's almost like they now feel like, oh, it's almost like you get us, you get what we want. We feel so connected to you guys now. We want to work with you guys for the next 2 years. So that's the customer story. So let me go over that again. So there's a value story of what you offer and how it impacts the users, right? There's a founder story, right? The story of who and how the company began, right? And there is the purpose story, which is a story of alignment and inspiring people internally to take action. So why would Dorcas come to office every single day? Because there's a purpose, there's a vision that she's trying to also push, and there's an impact, and then the impact now is where customer story comes to play, where the customers were not having access to this before. They were stressed, they were tired, and then we came on and sort of showed that we are credible, we can help them get this and that, done. And then the after story is now they feel like they have a partner they can trust, they can now put their money in us and leave their money for. Let me give you a practical story. So my former workplace, like I told you, where I worked, right? So the company actually closed down after a while due to management issues, right? After I left though. But then you know the funny thing, users had their money in our wallet. We closed down for almost a year, and not a single call from users to say, "Where is our money? You guys are scam." And it's crazy because what we did really was we're always talking to them every single day. Like if a client signs up and doesn't complete his KYC, we'll call him and be like, "Hi, Fanen, we saw that you sort of signed up, but you didn't complete the KYC. What went wrong?" "Oh, yes, my network failed though, or I don't know, it doesn't load in." "Oh, what's the issue?" "Oh, I didn't get OTP." "Okay, we'll help you and do it right now on this call." So we're basically helping them. Customer success, we're helping them. So that way we're feeling connected, they feel connected to us. And then we told them that, okay, do you know that you can win more when you do this and do that? So we give them, like, we also upsell to them. So we solve their problems, upsell to them, let them see the extra value. Because some people are like, you can load an app today, so many features, but they don't know what to use those features for. So we now go to them one-on-one, tell them the use cases. This is what you can use it for. Okay, you have a brother abroad, you can send money to Nigeria through this way. It's cheaper and it's faster. This is inside Gisto, that kind of stuff. Make them feel like I said, I'm giving them an exclusive info because we value each of them. So when the company sort of closed down, nobody even called to say, "Where's my money? People are a scam." Funny thing is that now the company now pivoted. So we sort of got that contact list and sort of brought it to a new company, right? And now people now are talking about the brand even more on Twitter. So that's where brand loyalty comes into play. If you play your cards right, you won't see people say shouting, "Where's my money?" Right? People will even still defend you when you're having a PR crisis. That, oh, they're not like that. It's just maybe a mishap. It's general stuff. It's Nigeria that happened to them. It's not that it's their fault. The people will defend you. You know, that's how it is really. So yes, that's the way to craft your why story. This will really give you clarity to how to craft your why story. I feel like I went overboard, but it's good. So do you have better clarity now on that?
Yes, thank you very much.
Now there's more questions. Okay, fine then.
No, it's not a question. I just wanted to know the explanation. You said they are before something.
Yes.
You said if there's a name before, that's why I wanted to get.
Oh, so it's the 4-part storytelling framework to craft a verbal identity or a communications plan or your why, to get your why, to get that strong cause why your brand exists. So there's value story, founder story, purpose story, and customer story. Yeah. So I think that's all really. Any other question before I bounce or before I end the call? Said to be your last question. Okay, please go ahead.
No, this is not like a question. It's just out of the. This is there a way we can, like, everybody can just connect. That's my question. It's not in your brand.
Okay, so let's all write our Twitter usernames on here, and then let's follow each other, and then connect. So before we go, let's write our Twitter names or Twitter usernames, and then connect with each other. Or you can put your email address. Someone can email you. That's also fine. All right. Anybody else adding theirs before I end the call?
All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. So you mentioned that you send the template during the call. Did you send it already? Or?
Yes, I'll send it after. So like I said, right, I'm giving you a task. So go out there on Twitter or any social media platform you're on, and then write out what you learned from this session, right? Maybe if you got clarity even, right? Write out everything you learned, and then I will then pick people that I will share this document with at random. So you can tag me so I can see your tweets. So my tweet again is, let's write it out for you guys. Gideon Tom. Yeah, so you can tag me, write what you learned, and then I would then share the document with you guys. So also, I think from Monday I will sort of share the document, this recording to you guys, so you can always replay it anytime you want. Yeah, for knowledge base. All right then. So I think without any other further questions, can end the call. And remember, you can reach out to me anytime. Email me or text me on, or tag me or text me on Twitter. I'll probably respond to you. All right then. Take care, guys. Bye.